straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdley, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 12 o'clock on Tuesday, the 9th of September. I'm Tom Harwood.
And I'm Nana Akua.
Now, Indians, Pakistanis and Nigerians face visa restrictions if their countries refuse or delay efforts to take back illegal migrants from Britain. These under new plans from our new hard-as-nails Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood.
Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson will address the TUC Congress today. A keynote speech, usually reserved for the Labour leader. Was Starmer invited, or is he running scared?
Yes, here in Brighton, I think probably just as well that the Prime Minister is not speaking, given the disappointment and anger from the unions on Labour's performance so far. But meanwhile, Bridget Phillipson, who is running to be Deputy Labour leader, will be setting out her stall here later.
And what a beautiful day for it too. But back in the wider country, sick days taken by British workers have surged to a record high as Labour prepares to force companies to offer more generous benefits to staff off work with illness.
I am making the Prime Minister a serious offer because the Conservative Party will always act in the national interest.
Kemi Badenoch is urging Sir Keir Starmer to work with the Conservatives on cutting the welfare bill in a speech calling for action to tackle a rising budget deficit.
Now, there's renewed speculation that Harry, yes, the Duke of Sussex, will meet his father, the King, after it was reported that Charles had returned to London from Balmoral. And we can view Prince Harry live now in Nottingham. Our reporter Cameron Walker is on the scene. This a charity visit from the Duke of Sussex. He's just to the left of our screen here. And here he is acting in some ways as if he's a senior royal again.
I know. I thought he wanted out of the royal family. But there he is, yes. Community recording studio, that's where he is. He's obviously this is something that he's supported for many years, and it's interesting to see that he's currently doing something at least, I guess.
Yeah, so you could hear a reporter there shout, "Harry, have you brought the sunshine with you?" from Los Angeles, and he just turned and smiled. He didn't reply to the journalist questions, but he's there speaking with those volunteers, those community activists. Of course, he's speaking to Nottingham-based charities. Our reporter Cameron Walker is there on the scene. Cameron, it's like the Duke is back into sort of his old role.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. I think if you've been in a coma for the last 10 years and woke up today, you'd still think that Prince Harry was a working member of the royal family, so what he is doing today. And of course, you can see there your live pictures on your screens of him looking incredibly relaxed, just as he did yesterday with the Well Child Awards. And the Community Recording Studio is a grassroots organisation really close to his heart. This is certainly not the first time he has been here. Of course, he embraced a couple of the community volunteers just a few moments ago. He started with this organisation way back when he was still a working member of the royal family, around a decade ago, when he was still part of the Royal Foundation alongside his brother Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Of course, since then they have split and Prince Harry is kind of going alone, and yet he still has a huge passion for these youth organisations which prevent youth violence here in Nottingham. It is the city that he first brought Meghan Markle when they were a newly engaged royal couple. All smiles as he's going inside there, and also quite a large crowd actually, considering it's just a tiny little suburb of Nottingham, have arrived, and he got a huge cheer. It is no other way to describe it when he arrived in his car. Not much security. It was one Range Rover. You can see some of the crowds here, Nottingham MemCap organisation as well, and of course not much security, no police presence here from what we can see. No uniform police presence is probably actually what I could see. Just one blacked out Range Rover. The Prince is expected to announce a substantial donation to children in need during his visit here. We'll have more details on that later on in the programme, but it is almost like having the old Prince Harry back at the moment. But of course, Tom and Nana, the age-old question is he going to meet the King? Is he going to meet his brother? Well, I was with his brother yesterday morning in Sunningdale. Prince Harry, meanwhile, was about 7 miles away from us in Windsor Castle, where he was laying a wreath at the grave of Queen Elizabeth II, his grandmother, and they did not meet. As for the King, he's still at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. We think he may be coming back down to London later on this week for cancer treatment. Prince Harry's got a pretty packed diary of charity and community engagements, so never say never. It's not been confirmed. I don't even think his team know, to be honest, Nana and Tom, but as you just saw there, all smiles for Prince Harry. He's coming in for day 2 of his charity work, although he was delayed, actually. We think by TfL and the London horrific traffic by an hour. He was meant to be here a good hour ago, so it looks like even Harry can't escape the tube strikes.
Well, thank Cameron, you, Cameron. Yeah. Very good to talk to you. Yeah, interesting that. Yes, Prince Harry. So I wonder what you think. Are you happy? Are you happy to see Harry? And what a shame it was that he didn't bring the children to meet the King. You would think that at least at some point soon he might do that.
Well, I hope he can find time in his busy schedule of engagements to meet his father. It would be nice.
Oh, send us your thoughts, your comments, gbnews.com/your say. But first, let's get your latest news headlines with Sam Francis.
Very good afternoon to you from the newsroom. The top story this hour, the race to succeed Angela Rayner as Labour's deputy leader is heating up, with 2 senior women now officially in the running. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson says she wants to unite the party and take on reform, describing herself as a proud working-class northerner who's ready for the fight ahead. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Dame Emily Thornberry has also confirmed she'll stand, pledging to be a voice for Labour members and unions and not just, in her words, nod along. They will also join Belle Ribeiro-Addy in that contest. Candidates have until Thursday evening to secure the support of 80 MPs and make it onto the ballot. We've also heard in the last few minutes that Lucy Powell will be joining them in that race. Kemi Badenoch is warning Labour is pushing Britain closer to a bond crisis. In a speech earlier today, she claimed that Rachel Reeves' so-called tax doom loop has already left working families £1,700 worse off. The Conservative leaders demanded urgent talks with the Prime Minister and his team on cutting welfare spending. And earlier today, when asked by our political editor Chris Hope if she fears that the party is sliding into irrelevance, well, this was her response.
Reform want to increase welfare spending. I did mention them. I said every single other party. They don't get any special treatment. They're just as bad as all the other left-wing parties. Yeah. But the fact is, the Prime Minister is facing a political crisis. He is now more focused on what's going on with the Labour Party than what is going on with the country. It is my job as Leader of the Opposition to bring the attention to the issues that affect all of us, not on who's going to be Deputy Leader for Labour.
Kemi Badenoch speaking there earlier. The Health Secretary says new Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will be as hard as nails tackling illegal immigration. Wes Streeting's backing her plan to limit visas for countries refusing to take back deportees. Well, that comes as breaking news just into us from our Home and Security editor Mark White, confirming that another surge in small boat crossings is now underway in the Channel. Exclusive footage into us here at GB News showing migrants packed into flimsy rafts. At least 500 people already reaching UK waters so far today. More boats also launching from the French coast. And that, of course, comes just days after a record 1,097 migrants landed in just a single day. The first crossings under new Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood. In other news, for the first time, NHS trusts in England have been ranked in league tables. At the top, Moorfields Eye Hospital, followed by the Royal National Orthopaedic and the Christie Cancer Centre. At the bottom, Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn, where crumbling buildings have long caused problems. The Health Secretary says the tables will shine a light on struggling trusts and end the postcode lottery of care. But NHS leaders warn the rankings could be misleading if the wrong measures are used. A bitter family feud over Rupert Murdoch's empire has ended, with his son Lachlan cementing control of Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Under a new deal, Rupert's other children, James, Elizabeth and Prudence, will sell their shares for around $1 billion each. The agreement ends years of legal wrangling that helped inspire the hit drama Succession. Lachlan now leads the family's global media dynasty, with a new trust also created to benefit his younger siblings. The Israeli military has ordered every resident of Gaza City to evacuate immediately, warning it's preparing to move in what it calls great force in the area. Hundreds of thousands live in crowded areas of the city, where Israel's security cabinet recently approved a plan to seize control. But world leaders have condemned the move, and the United Nations is warning it could trigger many more deaths. And London's tube strikes have entered a second full day, leaving thousands of commuters stranded, with nearly all underground services shut down today. Workers walked out on Sunday in a row over pay and conditions, and the network isn't expected to reopen until Friday morning. Buses, the Elizabeth line and Overground are still working, but e-bike use has surged across the city. Downing Street is urging the RMT and Transport for London to get back around the table. But union organisers are warning more strikes will follow if no deal is reached. Those are the latest headlines for now. I'll be back with you in 30 minutes' time. Next, though, the markets.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
And here are those midday markets for you. The pound will buy you $1.3584 and €1.1548. The price of gold, £2,691, 51 pence per ounce. And the FTSE 100 is at 9,245 points.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 11 minutes past midday. Now, some breaking news just in. GB News can exclusively reveal another significant surge in small boat crossings is underway as we speak.
Yes, at least 500 migrants have crossed into UK waters so far today, with more boats reportedly launching from France.
It comes as the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, vows to do whatever it takes to tackle the small boat crisis.
She announced the UK would issue visa suspensions for countries that refuse to take back illegal migrants.
And the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, told GB News he backed the new Home Secretary to get the job done.
Shabana Mahmood is hard as nails, and whether it is tackling disorder and lawlessness on our streets or tackling the insecurity at our borders, you can expect a tough and effective approach from this Home Secretary.
So the question is, will Labour's no-nonsense stance on illegal migration work? Because there's one further bit of news that we've learnt. Over the weekend, for the first time in almost 3 years, a small boat made it to shore in the United Kingdom without being escorted and without being picked up by Border Force. Now, ordinarily, these small boats are picked up midway through the channel by a Border Force vessel. The images we see are people walking off UK Border Force vessels and processed by our Border Force officials. But for the first time in almost 3 years now, a boat made through without being picked up by Border Force. Well, people turning up without being processed.
But isn't that the idea of it? They're meant to get across, but because we've been so generous, and obviously they know the rules, they know that either they can call for help or they can just, if the boat capsizes or something happens, will definitely be there. But they know that. So the idea is that the boat is meant to get across, but if it doesn't, they'll be OK anyway, because they know they'll be rescued. Well, let's speak to the Associate Editor of the Daily Sceptic, Laurie Wastel, who joins us now. Laurie, so a bit of breaking news that one boat actually managed to make it all the way without any interruption by Border Force or the RNLI or anything from France. I'm not surprised, because I guess that was the intention of them getting it all the way, but they know they're always going to get assistance. What do you make of that?
Well, it does sound worrying. I mean, of course, what we'd like the Border Force to do is actually to escort them back to France, or not to just give them that lift over the channel in the first place. But of course, there is, to some extent, a reason for that, which is that they're being brought in and then they're being processed, as you say. But if they're actually making it all the way across without even being detected, that is particularly worrying, particularly as we know, for instance, that there have been suggestions that there might be, for instance, terrorists from places including Iran in the past few months who have come over using that route. So, yes, I mean, that seems even worse than them being escorted in, even though that is always a sort of galling sight to see.
Absolutely, Laurie. It's incredibly frustrating that we pick up 99% of these boats, we pick up the individuals, but instead of taking them back to France, we take them to Dover and we process them in Dover. But at least that's sort of ordered and there's a process. I mean, it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. But I suppose what this boat getting through shows, and I should say that our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, has been in touch to say that a reason why could be that this was a very small dinghy with only 5 people on board rather than the 80 or 90 that we see in the larger small boats. But one of the reasons why this might have slipped through is just that we had such a large surge over the weekend. I mean, 1,000 people in a single day.
Well, didn't we just recently have 500? I mean, that was
today.
It's astonishing.
So far.
It's astonishing.
Well, Laurie, I suppose this all speaks to just the scale of the problem.
Indeed. Well, to bring it back to Shabana Mahmood and whether she's going to be effective, I mean, haven't they heard, Tom and Dana, haven't they heard she's hard as nails, and yet they're still coming across? I think this very much illustrates the gap between the rhetoric that Shabana Mahmood and others in the Labour Party would like her to be going forward with in the next few months and as Home Secretary generally, and the fact that this crisis is not going anywhere, and until there start to be real deterrents and a real system that is potentially taking them back, potentially putting them, up in camps rather than in hotels and getting all of these benefits that they know they're entitled to. Until all of that is in place, the fact that Labour is positioning themselves as slightly more right-wing on this issue is sort of neither here nor there.
Well, what about Shabana Mahmood? What she's saying is she's talking about withholding visas from countries that allow their people to come here via small boat if they won't take them back. Do you not think that's a good start at least?
I do think it sounds like a good idea, and yes, it is a good start. I think emphasis on the start to begin with, but also what we have to bear in mind here is, will this actually be followed through on? I think that's a crucial issue, because we have seen a lot of rhetoric about this kind of thing in the past, and as I say, there's that gap between how Labour now wants to posture and actually the kind of institutional focus of their party, which has always been really reluctant to actually deal with this kind of issue, as we saw, of course, with the previous Home Secretary as well.
Well, Laurie Westall, thanks indeed for talking through this inimitable challenge for the government. Let's see how this all develops. Thanks for joining us.
Right, well, coming up this Wednesday at 7 o'clock is the Farage Immigration 2-hour special.
Yes, you won't want to miss this one. GB News will be covering some astonishing and exclusive stories, speaking to stellar guests and providing world-class analysis. Immigration isn't just an issue, it's arguably the issue of our time.
So don't forget to send in your views or your questions, farage@gbnews.com, and tune in this Wednesday at 7 p.m. That's tomorrow for the Farage Immigration 2-hour special only on GB News.
Right, we're going to jump to Brighton now. It's day 2 of the Trade Union Congress Conference, and Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson, also Deputy Leadership candidate, is due to address the union leaders later today.
I wonder if Angela Rayner can see the conference from her window in Hove. Well, that's just 2 hours after Bridget Phillipson announced her bid to become Deputy Labour leader, making her the first Cabinet Minister to enter the race.
Well, joining us now is our very own political correspondent, Catherine Forster, down there in sunny Brighton. And Catherine, it's going to be a slightly more significant speech than it would have been just a few hours ago because of this leadership news.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome to Brighton. It is glorious. I think I should have put my factor 20 on it. And just talking about Angela Rayner, Hove is about a mile down that way. That's where I got the train from. So we're a little bit away from Angela Rayner today. But yes, very fortunate, isn't it, for Bridget Phillipson? She's got this golden opportunity in addressing the TUC Congress to set out her stall, basically to be deputy leader of the Labour Party, a role vacated by Angela Rayner. I expect that she will be the favourite option of number 10 and the Prime Minister. We've also heard that Emily Thornberry is standing. We've also heard that Lucy Powell is standing. She's got the backing of Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, and also she was booted out of the Cabinet rather unceremoniously last Friday. She said that she's decided to stand after much encouragement. So I think it's interesting. You've got 2 northern women standing. Also, of course, Belle Ribeiro Addy from the left of the party got the sort of momentum group, the Socialist Campaign group, behind her. But the mood here, well, they're not very happy. They're not very happy with the government. The government seems to have upset a whole lot of groups of people in just over a year because they are not, the unions feel, getting from Labour what they wanted or expected. And one person who's not very happy is the Fire Brigade Union General Secretary, Steve Wright. Steve, thank you very much for talking to us on GB News. You have issued a demand to the Prime Minister today. Tell us what you want from him.
Well, look, I'm here at Trade Union Congress to raise the alarm that the Fire and Rescue Service is beyond breaking point. The fire service is on its knees. We faced 14 years of drastic cuts to our front line, and we're facing more and more cuts. And that impact is on every member that's represented in Congress Hall, whether they work in a bakery, a school, on the railway, that they're at risk due to the cuts that we face. So the stark hypocrisy of rolling out a red carpet for Donald Trump in Buckinghamshire, a fire service that I used to work in when I started my career, to provide fire engines fully crewed and available to respond for just one person, when the rest of the communities will be compromised by that decision that's been taken.
You say Buckinghamshire Fire Service is trying to get people to do the overtime. Is there a real risk to public safety now, the level that the fire service is at?
Yeah, there is a risk. And look, this isn't just me as a General Secretary of the Fire Brigade Union or a 25-year firefighter that I am. The National Fire Chiefs Council, those that represent the chief officers, the bosses in all our fire and rescue services, they're saying that the modelling that they've done could equate to a loss of 2,300 firefighter posts, over £200 million worth of savings and cuts across the UK Fire and Rescue Service. That is dangerous. That puts everyone at risk, you, me, our families at risk. Because when we dial 999, that you expect that call to be answered immediately, you expect fire engines and firefighters to respond straight away. But that will not be the case. That they're raising the alarm, we're raising it as well, but it's beyond dangerous levels now. This summer, we've been on the front line of wildfires. In Dorset, not too far from here, 17 different counties, firefighters had to respond to that incident. Firefighters from Merseyside attended incidents in Dorset. 5 fire engines from London, from the capital city, were sent to North Yorkshire. I said it yesterday, we've had firefighters travelling on fire engines to put out fires further than they've been travelling to go on their summer holidays this year. It's beyond breaking point.
So you think that the fire service having to be there at Chequers to look after Donald Trump is a bridge too far, unfortunately. I wouldn't hold your breath on that visit being cancelled, but thank you very much for talking to us here on GB News. It's absolutely roasting here, and of course, as the weather is getting hotter, as Steve Wright just said, we are seeing more and more wildfires. But back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Catherine. It's interesting that, you know, so they're upset because there's too many firefighters over there protecting Donald Trump when actually they're quite short-staffed, hard work, you know, really working very hard. But Donald Trump is actually a real asset in terms of his visit to us. Do you not think? I mean, we do need to protect him.
We asked for this visit,
exactly.
right? We invited him, and the Prime Minister, well, the King, issued the invitation. And of course, it's not a... I think sometimes people overestimate the trade deal that was signed between the UK and the US, because it's not objectively better than where we were a few years ago, but it's a lot better than where the EU is.
Exactly.
And it's a lot better than where a lot of other countries around the world are. Yes, there are still tariffs against the United Kingdom, but they're less than they otherwise would be had we not got this deal. Now, can there be more done? Well, always. It could be like a visit like this that actually could open some of those doors.
But it's interesting when people sort of... because I think there's a bit of a conflation here that isn't really relevant. I think it's just there's some people who seem to have sort of a visceral hatred for Donald Trump, a bit like they had with Boris Johnson, and then they conflate it with everything else. And I'm struggling to find the sort of connection with too many firefighters protecting and all that. I don't get it, but still.
Well, if you are struggling to find a connection between firefighters and Donald Trump, perhaps you'll be struggling to find a connection between this and our next item, which is the Great British Giveaway. Yes, it's our biggest prize package to date, worth over an incredible £104,000. Your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and bank a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck indeed. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
I am making the Prime Minister a serious offer because the Conservative Party will always act in the national interest.
Yes, standing in front of 4 flags. Not 2, not 3, but 4. Kemi Badenoch is urging Sir Keir Starmer to work with the Conservatives on cutting the welfare bill. But will the government avail the offer? After the break?
Sick days taken by British workers have surged to a record high as Labour prepares to force companies to offer more generous benefits to staff off work with illness.
Well, all of that and much more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
She's got it all wrapped up, hasn't she?
Yeah, £2,000 worth of gifts all set to go under the tree. I admire people who go out to the Christmas Eve and buy all their presents.
Oh, so it's hellish. It's hellish.
Hellish.
Done that?
I have done it once or twice, yeah.
Oh dear.
So you have to buy for so many people, the dog, the cat, your partner. I mean, honestly.
It's never ending.
Never ending.
I've tried stockpiling before, and then when it comes to Christmas Eve, I'd get everything out thinking I've got loads and loads and loads. And I feel like I haven't got enough, and then I end up panic buying.
I like the whole festive period. It's my birthday 2 weeks before Christmas, so I like doing the shopping when the trees are up and the lights are out, and it's like, you know, proper Christmas vibe to it. It just feels wrong doing it so far in advance.
So you're Sagittarius?
Yeah.
What day do you? I'm the 16th.
I'm just before you. I'm the 11th.
Oh.
That's my granny's birthday.
I know.
Nice date. Yeah. Do you like to shop physically in person in the shops? Would you do it online?
Normally, all year round, I absolutely loathe shopping, absolutely loathe it with a passion. But I do like Christmas shopping. I like buying stuff for other people.
Oh, that's nice.
And toys for your husband.
And toys for my husband. Yeah, we were talking about Christmas toys as well, weren't we, earlier on?
Yeah.
And the thing I was saying to Biggins is about sort of like buying toys for grown men.
Yes.
But my husband is at that age now where he's reliving his past, and I want to buy him the little toys he couldn't afford when he was a kid.
So what sort of toys are we talking?
Little cars he couldn't... Not that, no. Don't go back to that conversation.
What, like
the little cars he couldn't afford when he was a little
rods.
boy. There were little Tonka toys. And
Yeah,
he couldn't
hot
afford
rods.
them when he was a kid. He had second
Is it Hot Wheels?
Yeah.
Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
Hot rods.
Hot rods.
Hot Wheels.
Carry on up GB News breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
Hot rods are the big racing cars, aren't they?
Yeah. Very big.
Hot Wheels.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Now, you may have heard about the arrest of Graham Linehan, the man who created Father Ted. And that's right, he was apprehended at Heathrow Airport last week in relation to a number of posts on X.
Well, here at GB News, we have a very exclusive interview with Graham Linehan about his experience. Part 1 played out last night on Free Speech Nation.
When I stepped off the plane, there were 3 policemen on one side, 2 on the other, just flanking the doorway. And as soon as I saw them, I said, "Don't tell me trans activists sent you," you know? And they just... I mean, I have to say the policemen who picked me up were really decent, you know. They brought me to a quiet area where I wouldn't be embarrassed, and they told me I was under arrest. But because I was just so disgusted that I went nuts. I was absolutely infuriated. I said, "Do you know how you look to America? Do you know what America thinks of Britain at the moment?" And, you know, it's nothing to do with them. They don't care. They're not making the rules. So finally, I mean, I was so incandescent with anger. They did talk about putting cuffs on me. So he said, "Please just let me calm down. You're not bringing me through an airport in cuffs for defending women's rights." And they went off and they discussed it, and they agreed to bring a van around the back. And I went down and I thought, "Oh, okay, that's not so bad, that's not so bad." But then they opened the back of it, and I had to sit in a little tiny cell in the back, like that's like, you know, that.
Extraordinary story. The second half of this interview will be playing out this evening, incidentally.
The Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley said while the decision to investigate and ultimately arrest the man was made within existing legislation, which dictates that a threat to punch someone from a protected group could be an offence, I understand the concern caused by such incidents, given differing perspectives on the balance between free speech and the risks of inciting violence in the real world.
Continues, "I don't believe we should be policing toxic culture wars debates, and officers are currently in an impossible position. I have offered to provide suggestions to the Home Office on where the law and policy should be clarified. Greater clarity and common sense would enable us to limit the resources we dedicate to tackling online statements to those cases creating real threats in the real world."
Wow. Well, you know what? I don't know about that. But, you know.
Well, the police are fed up with the...
having to do this sort of thing.
Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. There's lots more coming up on today's programme.
I don't think that's Bagpuss burping. It was just him yawning. Honestly, I hated that cat. Stay tuned to find out why the 1970s is now considered the golden age of children's TV. I know, I was there. But all of that and much more after your latest news headlines.
Very good afternoon to you. 12:30, the top story is breaking news. Another surge in small boat crossings is underway in the Channel. At least 500 people have already reached UK waters today. We're also hearing a rescue operation is underway in the English Channel after a migrant boat ran into trouble near UK waters. Border Force vessels are on scene with reports of people in the water. A lifeboat and Coast Guard helicopter have been scrambled east of Dover. For the first time, league tables ranking every NHS trust in England have been published. Moorfields Eye Hospital tops the list, with Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn in last place. West Streeting says the data will end the postcode lottery of care. Kemi Badenoch has warned Labour's economic plans are pushing Britain closer to a bond crisis. She's demanding the Prime Minister and Chancellor agree urgent welfare cuts, claiming working households are already £1,700 worse off. Rupert Murdoch's son Lachlan has cemented control of the family's media empire, Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. It's after his siblings agreed to sell their stakes in a deal worth billions. And in the Middle East, Israel has ordered all residents of Gaza City to evacuate immediately, warning of operations with great force. The United Nations says the move risks more massive forced displacement and more killing. Those are the headlines for now. Stay with us for plenty more coming from the Channel later this hour.
Well, thanks very much. There's lots more coming up on today's programme. Yes, sick days have been taken by British workers, surging now to a record high as Labour prepares to force companies to offer more generous benefits to staff off work with illnesses.
Yeah. All of that and more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Rain will continue to push into parts of the southwest, possibly turning heavy and thundery through the course of the day. Elsewhere, it's going to be a day of sunshine and showers. Now, the bulk of the showers is set to be across western areas, where we'll see that westerly flow, more showers moving through here, and longer spells of rain, all thanks to this system starting to clip into parts of Northern Ireland, Wales and southwest England, turning blustery here for a time with a chance of hail and thunder. Now, we could still see the odd shower across northwest England, perhaps isolated showers elsewhere, but for the bulk of the country, it's set to be another dry day with a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, highs reaching around 22 to possibly 23 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Remaining mostly dry across eastern areas to finish off the day, but once again we'll see outbreaks of rain continue across Wales, southwest England, eventually pushing into central and southern parts of England. Still fairly cloudy too across Northern Ireland, northwestern England, quite blustery here with a risk of showers, and some showers isolated around coastal areas of Scotland. But across the far northeast of Scotland, it should be a mostly clear end to the day. And eventually we'll see more and more cloud push in from the west, moving into eastern areas where we could see a risk of showers as we head our way towards dawn. And we'll start to see winds pick up, particularly around exposed coastal areas, quite a strong breeze developing by the time we reach the morning, and also a continuation of the showers. Once again, these could be heavy with some hail, lightning and also some thunder. So it's not going to be feeling quite as cool, less clear skies around, more cloud, so lows reaching around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. Wednesday is set to be quite a changeable, unsettled day. There's going to be more cloud around. Once again, further showers pushing into eastern areas where the last couple of days it's been mostly dry. Then longer spells of quite heavy, blustery rain pushing into the west by the time we reach the afternoon. So a breezy, unsettled day and any bright spells still feeling pleasant. Highs reaching around 20 degrees Celsius.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good afternoon. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Planned maintenance on the M73 southbound at Junction 2 has closed the off-slip with diversions. In Durham, a broken down vehicle on the A19 northbound is causing a lane closure, expected to clear soon.
An incident on the M6 northbound at junction 31 is causing lane closures, with normal conditions expected by 1:45. In Hertfordshire, a police incident on the M1 southbound between junction 6 and junction 5 results in lane closures, expected to resolve shortly. And on the trains, there are major disruptions on cross-country and Elna services between Newcastle and Edinburgh. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 37 minutes past midday. Now, more of us are calling in sick to work than ever before, with shocking figures revealing that the average worker is missing almost 2 full weeks a year.
Yeah, unbelievable. They need to go self-employed.
Sorry, the average worker is missing 2 weeks. What?
That's, I mean, like, listen, I used to be self-employed. I was self-employed for like 20-something years. And if you don't go to work, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
I think some of these people need to do a bit of self-employment.
I can understand 1 or 2 days a year. 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, look, if you're really sick and something has happened or you're seriously ill, I think a lot of people are using the mental health card, which I guess some people are mentally ill, but come on. Mental health and minor illnesses top the list of reasons to pull a sickie.
Well, that does suggest something, doesn't it? And with Labour planning a major overhaul of workers' rights, businesses say there's nothing they will be able to do to stop the rise of sick note Britain.
Well, joining us now to discuss this is Head of Lifestyle Economics at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Christopher Snowdon. Well, Christopher, businesses are really concerned about the new workers' rights bill that is likely to be pushed through. The unions don't want it changed at all. I'm not sure how much you know about it, but I presume you know a lot. How is it going to impact people if they are sick? Because, as I understand it, there are many benefits to them through this bill.
Yeah, one of the main things the bill's going to do is it's going to give a lot of workers rights that you would normally only get once you've been in the job for some time, as much as 2 years, and give you them from day one. So the right to complain about unfair dismissal, for example, which used to be something that you'd only get after 2 years, it would be start from day one.
Wow.
It's going to deter employers from employing people. Quite simply, there are various other bad parts of the act, such as, or the bill rather, such as banning so-called zero-hour contracts, what we used to call casual labour, which actually a lot of people really rather like. It's just giving everybody the full tranche of rights, gold-plated, from the moment they start in a job, which of course just means that employers can't try people out. You know, the harder it is to hire and fire, the less likely people are to take a chance on someone. And actually, of course, that disadvantages people who maybe, you know, have a bit of a checkered career, maybe come out of prison, you know, all sorts of reasons why people might be reluctant to give somebody a job, but would do so if they can get rid of them reasonably quickly.
The irony is this bill is being promoted as something that's going to help the working man. But if an employer has the choice between someone who has been in a top job before, has gone to a great university and all the rest of it, or someone who looks like, who interviewed very well, but they've got a bit of a checkered CV and all the rest of it, perhaps they didn't go to the best university, didn't go to university at all, that person is now much less likely to be employed off the back of these, because if you make the wrong decision, you're sort of stuck with the person. There's less risk-taking. But Christopher, I wanted to ask you about these sick notes, because, I mean, can it be the case that the country is more ill than it has ever been before?
No, it can't be, and particularly since, you know, we've been through 2 world wars in the last century or so. No, it's not. I mean, all the evidence shows that the big rise, not just in sick days, but more importantly, actually, in people being long-term off sick. We've got well over 4 million people now of working age who are claiming some form of health-related benefit. And the largest component of that is people claiming mental health conditions. And I think the government is going to have to get tough on this, because we simply can't afford to be allowing people to be long-term sick for years with things like stress or anxiety and depression. Not to downplay how bad those things can be, but they're also extremely easy to exaggerate. They're extremely easy to fake. I don't think doctors feel too bothered about signing people off without being able to fully diagnose them, and giving a full proper diagnosis is virtually impossible anyway, particularly when you have all these sickfluencers going around online telling people what to say in certain scenarios.
Is it as simple as someone faking that they've got a... Because I suppose there is a sort of big subculture where these sort of mental health illnesses are almost desirable in a way. People can,
well, I think it
I suppose, think themselves into having these things.
I think, for me, I think the culture kind of, and I'm not blaming Meghan Markle fully for this, but I think it was that sort of moment where there was a wake-up call and people thought, hold on a minute, I'm able to use this now. There was a more... Because before, when people would say mental health, I think a lot of people went... And you wouldn't want to admit that that was the problem. Now there seems to be... It's suddenly become this panacea of people all saying, oh, mental health, mental health, mental health, and everyone not daring to challenge
this sort of affirmative approach to it. If you say, I've got anxiety, I've got depression, I've got...
work,
then everyone sort of... It's an affirmative approach.
But, Christopher, what do you think, then, an employer can do because of this new workers' bill that's likely to be passed? The unions won't allow it to go through without any changes. What do you think an employer can do? Because obviously we know what they probably will do, which is not give people full-time contracts. But what can they do to mitigate people going off sick like this?
Well, they can get more robots involved, they can use AI more, they can automate more, or they can go offshore to a country that's more sympathetic to businesses who want to employ people. And I'm afraid that's what people are going to do. We're seeing unemployment go up already. I fear that is going to continue under Labour, ironically because of Labour-related workplace legislation. We've seen this happen many times before. You over-regulate the market, then employers will respond in kind. But what the government actually needs to do is it needs to be a lot tougher, because it is one of the big three problems facing the country at the moment, this the economic inactivity. And there's a combination of reasons for that. I think perhaps part of it's a hangover from lockdown when people began to feel that working was kind of optional. I think there has been an over-diagnosis and a wider definition of mental health problems, which make a lot of people genuinely believe they have mental health problems and are therefore not able to go to work. And I think there's been quite a lot of outright malingering and abuse of the benefit system. And I don't know exactly what the solution is, but it has to be something more along the lines of, when it comes to mental health, if you haven't actually been sectioned, I'm afraid you just need to take some meds and go do a job.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, if you're sitting there thinking, woe is me, you might genuinely be very, very anxious about getting out of bed and going to work. You might genuinely feel very, very sad.
The answer is to get out of bed. Get out of bed.
Yeah, have a routine, touch some grass.
Yes, Christopher Snowdon, thank you very much, Head of Lifestyle Economics at the IEA. Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? Look, you're more likely to ruminate if you're there on your own thinking about how terrible things are. If you actually start doing stuff and going to work, even if you're going to the gym, if you're being active, it takes your mind off all the works and you can focus on something else.
You're probably not going to be helped by someone just sort of whacking you into work. But, if someone is to tell you, if the incentives are there for the government to say, we're going to pay you to stay in bed, that is the worst thing that could possibly happen.
I would be so bored with that. I would actually go mad if I stayed there and just lay in bed.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I know. Listen, I don't know why the Labour government seem to think that is the way forward. I don't get it, but what do you think? gbnews.com/your say. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Yes, there's renewed speculation that Prince Harry will meet his father, the King, after it was reported that Charles had returned to London from Balmoral.
But now, if you're in search of some holidays, son, then here is the forecast. Some of the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow and across particularly northern parts of Italy, also into Croatia, there will be the return of heavy thundery rain. Also around the Canary Islands, a few showery bursts possible. A bit of rain pushing into the north of Portugal and northwest Spain. Otherwise, a good deal of fine, often sunny weather around. Also across Greece, generally dry, just a few showers to watch out for here. As we go through the rest of the week, away from parts of Italy and Croatia, it is going to be mostly dry and sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no, because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's now 10 minutes to 1, and Prince Harry is continuing his 4-day trip to the United Kingdom today.
A short while ago, he arrived in Nottingham to celebrate and support the work of local grassroots charities.
Well, he's also making a donation to help tackle violence and its impact on young people. But with King Charles expected to return to London this week, attention is turning to the possibility of a father-son reunion. Could this be the royal catch-up everyone's been waiting for?
Well, let's cross to Nottingham now and speak to GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker. Cameron, we've just heard that Prince Harry was breakdancing or dancing to some music when there's something going on. What more can you tell us?
Oh yeah, he absolutely was, Nana. He appears to be in his elements here at the community recording studio here in Nottingham. We may be able to play you some pictures now for those of you watching on television. If you're on radio, look on our social media channels because, you know, it is quite something to watch. He is in his element. It's a city which is really close to his heart. It's something he's been involved with, this particular grassroots organisation, for around a decade now. So when he was still part of the Royal Foundation, working alongside his brother Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and of course since then he has parted ways, and he is going alone. And as you say, he is going to be later on today announcing a substantial donation to a couple of grassroots organisations here through Children in Need. And it is all about tackling youth violence, but also about giving young people the skills to have a much better start in life. Hence, we've got the recording studio here. There's also a sporting organisation here as well. And Prince Harry is spending time with young people as we speak inside the building behind me. We're expecting him to deliver a speech a little bit later on today as well. When he arrived here, there was a small crowd that had gathered who gave him a big cheer when he arrived. What was quite noticeable was the lack of security details. There's no uniformed police officers here. He arrived in one single blacked out Range Rover. Of course, when he was a working member of the royal family, he would have outriders, he'd have uniformed police, he'd have a backup car, none of that. But he seemed pretty cheerful. He didn't seem bothered by that. Of course, we've heard a lot, haven't we, about how he has taken umbrage with the security arrangements the Home Office have given him. But his focus very much is on the charity work over the next couple of days. But inevitably, people are asking, well, is he going to see his brother, the Prince of Wales? Is he going to see the King? His brother and himself were just 7 miles away yesterday. We don't think they met up. We don't think they're even on speaking terms. As for the King, he's currently at Balmoral in Scotland, which is a good half a day's travel away. Prince Harry's engagements tomorrow and possibly Thursday as well are going to take up a lot of his diary, but they are in London. We are also expecting the King to travel back down to London later on this week. We think that's what's been reported, although not confirmed by Buckingham Palace, for cancer treatment. So there could be a window for a potential meet-up. As to whether it will happen or not, well, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think staff members on either side even know the answer to that question. But what it's going to come down to, we think, is trust. Can King Charles trust Prince Harry to not say anything in public about that meeting? Because there was a lot, of course, to discuss. It's been a turbulent few years. But for today, for this afternoon, Prince Harry focused on the people here in Nottingham and those grassroots organisations.
Thank you very much, Cameron Walker. Great, isn't it? But the thing is, there's always a dark cloud because he's, you know, there's an argument over his brother and then the whole Meghan Markle thing. I mean, they're like a tag team, aren't they? The Meghan Markle's career has seriously failed in America. So now he's taking the reins. And I just think there's a dark cloud because he just needs to take the children to see his dad. She needs to meet her family. Do you know what I mean?
It's just such a shame to see him in his element there, doing the charity work.
Yes.
I mean, I wish he could have turned
that.
up with his outriders, with the 2 cars that he normally would, as a senior member of the royal family. But he quit as a senior member of the royal family.
His own
he left
fault.
that all behind, but he clearly enjoys what he's doing. I mean, if only the last 9 or so years hadn't happened, you know?
But they did, unfortunately. This is Good Afternoon Britain. We are GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show. Don't go anywhere. First, let's get an update with your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Rain will continue to push into parts of the southwest, possibly turning heavy and thundery through the course of the day. Elsewhere, it's going to be a day of sunshine and showers. Now, the bulk of the showers is set to be across western areas, where we'll see that westerly flow, more showers moving through here, and longer spells of rain, all thanks to this system starting to clip into parts of Northern Ireland, Wales and southwest England, turning blustery here for a time with a chance of hail and thunder. Now, we could still see the odd shower across northwest England, perhaps isolated showers elsewhere, but for the bulk of the country, it's set to be another dry day with a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, highs reaching around 22 to possibly 23 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Remaining mostly dry across eastern areas to finish off the day, but once again we'll see outbreaks of rain continue across Wales, southwest England, eventually pushing into central and southern parts of England. Still fairly cloudy too across Northern Ireland, northwestern England, quite blustery here with a risk of showers, and some showers isolated around coastal areas of Scotland. But across the far northeast of Scotland, it should be a mostly clear end to the day. And eventually we'll see more and more cloud push in from the west, moving into eastern areas where we could see a risk of showers as we head our way towards dawn. And we'll start to see winds pick up, particularly around exposed coastal areas, quite a strong breeze developing by the time we reach the morning, and also a continuation of the showers. Once again, these could be heavy with some hail, lightning and also some thunder. So it's not going to be feeling quite as cool, less clear skies around, more cloud, so lows reaching around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. Wednesday is set to be quite a changeable, unsettled day. There's going to be more cloud around. Once again, further showers pushing into eastern areas where the last couple of days it's been mostly dry. Then longer spells of quite heavy, blustery rain pushing into the west by the time we reach the afternoon. So a breezy, unsettled day and any bright spells still feeling pleasant. Highs reaching around 20 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank
bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, Jeremy Clarkson is being praised for his role in inspiring the next generation of farmers. His documentary shows the ups and downs of British farm life, and now the Royal Agricultural University in Gloucestershire has credited it with a rise in applications. Good stuff, eh? We can now speak with the agriculture student at Gloucestershire's Hartpury University, Joseph Watkins. Joseph, thank you so much for joining me. What a scene you've got there. Do you think it's going to inspire another generation? You're a young man yourself. Has it inspired you at all?
For anyone watching, it's just amazing to see, isn't it? All the different steps they take, all the different revenues which they can create on farm. So I think it's really good for the public. And if it does something to help get people into the industry, I think that's an amazing thing. Agriculture has both a lack of skilled talent and just a lack of people in the industry anyway. So if someone wants to go and do a college course or university course to get into the agriculture industry because they watch Jeremy Clarkson, this old pot-bellied Top Gear man, then I think it's great. And I say that with all due respect. I love Top Gear.
Well, we were talking about the ups and downs of farm life. What are the, first of all, let's start with the ups. What are the ups?
They're pretty beautiful ladies, you know, surrounded by 600 lovely ladies. That's certainly something. Working outside, you know, you're working with your hands. It's definitely a rewarding experience to be able to go home after a long day and think, right, everything's taken care of. All of these cows are all happy. Some of the downs, well, it's difficult, isn't it? You've heard this, I'm sure you know. The farm tax, family farm tax, has been in the news lately. But the early mornings, late nights, being away from friends and family, strenuous jobs, and often at times dangerous. So there's ups and downs to it, but as you can see now, I think the positives outweigh the negatives for me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 1 o'clock on Tuesday, the 9th of September. I'm Nana Akua.
And I'm Tom Harwood.
Breaking news, a rescue operation is underway in the Channel as at least 500 migrants cross in small boats today alone. That's as the new Home Secretary promises to be tough as nails, but is her plan to sanction visas all it's cracked up to be?
Elsewhere, the Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson will address the TUC Congress today in a keynote speech usually reserved for the Labour leader. So was the Prime Minister invited? Is he running scared?
Kemi Badenoch is urging Sir Keir Starmer to work with the Conservatives on cutting the welfare bill in a speech calling for action to tackle a rising budget deficit.
And the new league tables rating the performance of NHS trusts in England have been published for the first time. External, with specialist hospitals taking the top spot. Stay tuned to see if your local Sawbones is up to par.
Banksy could finally be unmasked as police launched an investigation into possible criminal damage after a new artwork was sprayed on the Royal Courts of Justice in London.
Stay tuned to find out why the 1970s is now considered the golden age of children's TV.
Yeah, it really was, because I was born in 1971, so I got all of it. See, I'm well old.
See, you're a 70s baby, I'm a 90s baby, so a lot of these I have missed and am unfamiliar with.
All right, what about... I'll do some...
But I do know the Wombles.
The Wombles, yeah, they were around a while.
Overground, underground, wombling free.
What about... That's Bod.
Bod?
Do you not remember Bod?
What's Bod?
Bod.
Bod?
Oh, what about Alberto Frog at the end? You'd say, I think I'll have... And he'd choose a milkshake. Strawberry milkshake.
This
There'd
means
be 3 different milkshakes.
absolutely nothing to me.
What about up above the streets and houses, rainbow climbing high? Everyone can see it climbing over the sky. So paint the whole world with a rainbow. Let's sing it.
Is that Rainbow?
Yeah, it's Rainbow.
See, I am aware of
Zippy.
Rainbow. I'm only aware of Rainbow because in the mid 2000s, maybe late 2000s, there was a parody of Rainbow where they all said rude things, and it went quite viral on YouTube. But that's the only time that I've seen anything to do with Rainbow.
There was one with the zip. His name was Zippy.
Yes.
My mother used to say, I wish you had a zip on your mouth now, because she wanted to shut me up because I talked so much.
I'm of the timeline of Postman Pat.
He was there as well.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, yeah.
Thomas the Tank Engine, Fireman Sam.
Do you remember Ivor the Engine? They do.
No, I'm sure most people watching will be a lot better informed about all of this than I am.
Yes,
this is a whole world of children's TV that I clearly need to sit down and educate myself about.
Yes, and post us your thoughts. What was your favourite TV show back in the day? Children's TV show, of course. gbnews.com/your say.
Well, all of that to come, and a lot more serious news besides. That to come after your latest news headlines.
Very good afternoon to you. The top story this lunchtime, well, it is breaking news that a major surge of small boat crossings is taking place in the Channel today. GB News understands at least 500 migrants have entered UK waters so far, and more vessels are launching from the French coast. There is also an urgent rescue underway after one migrant boat got into difficulties east of Dover. Reports some are in the water. Border Force vessels Volunteer and Hurricane are on scene, backed by lifeboats and a Coast Guard helicopter. This, of course, comes just days after more than 1,000 people made the crossing in a single day, as smugglers are testing Britain's border security once again. The race to succeed Angela Rayner as Labour's deputy leader is heating up, with 2 senior women now officially in the running. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson says she wants to unite the party and take on Reform UK, describing herself as a proud and working-class northerner who's ready for the fight ahead. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Dame Emily Thornberry has also confirmed she'll stand, pledging to be a voice for Labour members and unions and, not just in her words, nod along. They'll join Bel Ribeiro Addy in the contest. Candidates have until Thursday this week to secure the support of 80 MPs and make it onto that ballot. A row has broken out over welfare reform, with Rachel Reeves insisting she won't take any advice from the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch. The Chancellor's accusing the opposition of crashing the economy when in government, after Tory MPs urged her to accept cross-party talks on cutting welfare spending. Kemi Badenoch, meanwhile, is warning Labour's so-called tax doom loop is pushing Britain closer to a bond crisis, and says families are already £1,700 worse off. Well, speaking earlier today, Kemi Badenoch was asked by our political editor Chris Hope if she fears her party's sliding into irrelevance. This was her response.
Reform want to increase welfare spending. I did mention them. I said every single other party. They don't get any special treatment. They're just as bad as all the other left-wing parties. Yeah. But the fact is, the Prime Minister is facing a political crisis. He is now more focused on what's going on with the Labour Party than what is going on with the country. It is my job as Leader of the Opposition to bring the attention to the issues that affect all of us, not on who's going to be Deputy Leader for Labour.
For the first time, NHS trusts in England have been ranked in league tables. At the top, Moorfields Eye Hospital, followed by the Royal National Orthopaedic and the Christie Cancer Centre. At the bottom, Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn, where crumbling buildings have long caused problems. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says the tables will shine a light on struggling trusts and end the postcode lottery of care. But NHS leaders warn the rankings could be misleading if the wrong measures are used. A bitter family feud over Rupert Murdoch's empire has ended, with his son Lachlan cementing control of Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Under a new deal, Rupert's other children, James, Elizabeth and Prudence, will sell their shares for around $1 billion each. The agreement ends years of legal wrangling that helped inspire the hit drama Succession. Lachlan now leads the family's global media dynasty. The Israeli military has ordered every resident of Gaza City to evacuate immediately, warning it's preparing to move in with what it calls great force. Hundreds of thousands live in the Strip's most crowded city, where Israel's security cabinet recently approved a plan to seize control. Well, that comes as also breaking news just into us that Israel's President Isaac Herzog will visit Downing Street tomorrow for talks with Sir Keir Starmer. That trip, of course, comes amid ongoing outcries over the war in Gaza, with some of his own Labour MPs urging the Prime Minister not to undertake that meeting. But we can confirm now Israel's President will visit Downing Street tomorrow. And London's tube strike has entered a second full day, leaving thousands of commuters stranded, with nearly all underground services shut down. Workers walked out on Sunday in an ongoing row over pay and conditions, and the network isn't expected to reopen until Friday morning. Buses, the Elizabeth Line and the Overground are still running, but e-bikes across the city, well, their use has surged. Downing Street is urging RMT and Transport for London to get back around the table, but union organisers are warning more strikes could follow if no deal is reached. Those are the headlines for now. I will be back with you in half an hour. Next, though, let's take a look at the lunchtime markets.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
And here are those markets for you this hour. The pound will buy you $1.3584 and €1.1548. The price of gold, £2,691, 51 pence per ounce. And the FTSE 100 is at 9,245 points.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. 9 minutes after 1 o'clock. Breaking news in the last hour. A rescue operation is underway in the English Channel after a migrant boat got into difficulties.
Yes, at least 500 migrants have crossed into the UK waters so far today, with more boats reportedly launching from the French coast as we speak.
And all of this comes as the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, vows to do whatever it takes to tackle the small boats crisis.
Well, she announced the United Kingdom could issue visa suspensions for those countries that refuse to take back illegal migrants.
Health Secretary Wes Streeting told GB News that he backed the new Home Secretary to get the job done.
Shabana Mahmood is hard as nails, and whether it is tackling disorder and lawlessness on our streets or tackling the insecurity at our borders, you can expect a tough and effective approach from this Home Secretary.
Well, that's what Wes Streeting had to say, but as the boats continue to arrive on our shores, will Labour's no-nonsense stance actually work?
Right, well, GB News' national reporter Charlie Peters joins us now to tell us more. Charlie.
Well, the cabinet colleagues of Shabana Mahmood are describing her as tough as nails, but it seems so far that the people smugglers in France don't agree. There's been a significant rise. After 11 days of no crossings on Saturday, we saw nearly 1,100 crossings over the weekend, and now several hundred more today. And so busy is the channel that there is also a difficulty with the sea and air operation underway in the channel after a migrant boat got into difficulties as it approached British waters. Both of the Border Force vessels, Volunteer and Hurricane, are on scene, with reports that some migrants are in the water, with Coast Guard helicopters and Dover and Woolmer lifeboats also heading to the area. It's just 10 miles east of Dover.
Now, this is really significant because whilst we used to see a lot of difficulty in the Channel, for the last few years, these boats have basically been escorted, first by the French and then by the British once they get to the halfway point. We see actually not the journey that would be dangerous without all of this escorting has become less dangerous in recent years.
It's not dangerous.
And yet the scale of those coming across now is perhaps bringing back danger into that because not every boat can be escorted.
And we've also seen the size of those boats change. We had the mega dinghy earlier this summer bringing over 100 people in one crossing. 500 have crossed already today. And Tom, we speak about the lack of control. Today, we're also learning from Bloomberg that over the weekend, Britain saw its first beach landing of an unescorted migrant boat in almost 3 years. That's obviously going to bring new questions to the Prime Minister and Shabana Mahmood about how they are dealing with this small boats crisis. Immigration officials responding to that unescorted arrival of a boat on Kent's shores at 8 p.m. on Saturday. They detained 5 people for processing. So a really chaotic morning in the Channel. 500 crossing already, one boat in difficulty, and confirmation that one small boat arrived on Kent's shores over the weekend unescorted, the first beach landing in almost 3 years.
All right, Charlie Peters, thank you very much. She'll be back to update us further. Now, political commentator Dominic Moffitt joins us now. Dominic, so hearing that, one small boat arriving without him being detected, which is a problem because obviously others will see that and think, oh, we can actually get through without being detected at all and just scuttle away into the distance and disappear into the UK. And also, we've just got to have another 500 people coming. It's totally unsustainable, isn't it?
Well, good afternoon, and I think what you've seen with the Prime Minister's appointment of Shabana Mahmood as the Home Office Secretary of State is a recognition of what a significant problem this is. PLMR polling with Electoral Calculus shows that 40% of voters at the next election consider this one of the most important issues that's going to drive how they vote.
Dominic, just quickly, is this an admission that Yvette Cooper was failing as Home Secretary, that the Prime Minister saw fit to remove her and get in Shabana?
I think it's an admission of what a significant issue this is. What I don't think it is, look, you've seen that Yvette Cooper's been moved to a different role within the top of the cabinet. I don't think in any way that's a demotion. What it is a sign that Shabana has got the highest levels of respect. She's seen as hard as nails by her cabinet colleagues. I don't think anyone's thinking she's going to be giving illegal migrants an easy ride.
OK, well, Dominic Moffitt, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. We've got much more to cover, but thank you indeed for joining us here on Good Afternoon Britain. Now, we must say that coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. is the Farage Immigration 2-hour special.
You won't want to miss that. GB News will be covering some astonishing exclusive stories, speaking to stellar guests and providing world-class analysis. Immigration isn't just an issue, it is the issue of our time.
So don't forget to send in your views. Farage@gbnews.com is the address, and tune in on Wednesday at 7 for the immigration special.
Right, it's day 3 now of the TUC conference, and the General Secretary of the RMT has been delivering a speech to the Congress.
Well, it comes as Londoners face another day of tube strikes as members of the RMT continue their 5-day walkout in a dispute over pay and conditions, including a request for a reduction in the hours that make up a working week.
Well, joining us now is GB News political correspondent Catherine Forster, who is joined now by the General Secretary of RMT, Eddie Dempsey. Catherine.
Yes, good afternoon from Brighton. Of course, in the capital, absolute chaos as millions of people struggle to get to work because of the tube strikes. But I am joined by Eddie Dempsey. He is the General Secretary of the RMT Union. Thank you so much for talking to us. There's not much sympathy for you in the capital. You're stopping people getting to work to earn money. What do you say to all the people that you're massively inconveniencing?
Well, a couple of things. Firstly, I am a Londoner. I know what it's like. I hear it when I go to my kids' school. I hear it when I use the small businesses around me. I speak to lots of Londoners, and some of them write into me about the situation in Transport for London. But we also get lots of support. People do understand that we're trying to improve the working lives of our members, and lots of people support that too. We take no pleasure in disruption whatsoever. But we have got a crisis right now of industrial relations in London. So our members are out on strike right across the London Underground Combine. All of the staff in there are participating in rolling strike action, and also on Docklands Light Railway. All of our members in Docklands Light Rail are out on strike too. We want to make some progress around some issues that are really key to our people. Addressing shift working fatigue in London Underground and job security in DLR. We're not asking for more money, we're broadly there on money. We're quite happy broadly with where we've got to in terms of negotiations on the pay rise. But we think our members are justified in their demands. We contribute to the success of Transport for London. We've helped them deliver £166 million surplus. We've helped them save £100 million on pension contributions to the pension scheme, and we've got ridership on TfL at record levels, and we're doing it with thousands of less staff than we were in the past. So we've been talking since 2018, by the way, to Transport for London about how we address fatigue and shift working. So this isn't something new, and our members are absolutely furious at the approach that TfL have taken to negotiations, and that's why we're on strike.
Can you tell us what input, where you are with Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, on this? How helpful or otherwise is he being in trying to get this resolved? Obviously so important for everybody that is brought to an end.
Well, Sadiq Khan put a tweet out today. I don't know if it's called a tweet anymore, but he put a tweet out of him standing in a hallway somewhere, looking bored and disinterested, saying we should get round the table, which is staggering because he is the chairperson, he's the chairman of TfL. If he wants to meet us, he just sends an invitation. We never refuse to meet anyone to negotiate on behalf of our members. So what he should do, instead of going on the internet and posting silly videos, he should invite us to a meeting. We'll come and sit down and talk to him.
But do you understand that the country is in trouble? There's no money. We've got a huge debt. There just isn't the money to give people that they want for everything. And you're asking, you say, not for more money necessarily, but a 32-hour week. Well, loads of people would love to work a 32-hour week.
Well, that's right. It won't fall out of the sky. People have got to organise and pursue that. We used to work 7 days a week. We used to have children going out to work. The only reason we've made any progress is because people have organised and pursued those aims. We're not asking for an immediate drop to the 32-hour week. Despite what's been portrayed in the media, we want progress in that direction. And you've got to remember, TfL has got a £10 billion budget. We've helped them deliver a surplus of £166 million, and we've saved them £100 million on the pension scheme. So we're not asking for anything crazy. We're happy to work towards that aim in a graduated way that's sensible for the travelling public and sensible for our people.
But the railways were propped up by taxpayers massively during the COVID pandemic. The mood seems to be very down on the government at the moment. What do you think of the government's performance so far? Is it what you expected?
It is what I expected, but like most people, and like my members and most people in the public, we haven't got much faith in politics. Politicians of all colours and stripes, they promise the world, and then when they're in power, you see little progress. This government has made some good progress in some areas. On the Employment Rights Bill, what the final status of that will be, I don't know, because it looks like it's being watered down. They're making good progress on Great British Railways, but what we don't understand is they're taking one approach in the railways, which is to bring it back into public ownership, and the polar opposite in London. They're putting half of the network back out to tendering to the private sector. So that leads me to wonder, who's actually in charge in London? Is it Sadiq Khan, the mayor, who's elected to do the job and deliver his programme, or is it a permanent bureaucracy in TfL who are pursuing the same old policies and moving in the same direction? So my members are asking me, who's actually in charge? And I don't know.
Eddie Dempsey, thank you very much indeed for talking to us today on GB News. From a sunny Brighton, back to you in the studio.
Ah, dear. Wow. Thank you, Catherine. You know, when he says they're not asking for more money, but you want 32 hours, that is more money.
Thank you.
You're getting paid more per hour if you're doing fewer hours. And also, you know, he's not even sure who's in charge. And that's, again, I asked Sadiq Khan, I said, what are you doing? I asked him yesterday on air. Obviously, I don't know whether he watches GB News because he won't come on it. But he didn't really, you know, finally there's a picture of him apparently on X. And then, you know, this gentleman was talking about the Employers' Rights Bill and how it's great progress. I think these sort of sound bites come from people who've never actually been in sort of self-employment. Do you know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Generally, when we move down from a 7-day working week to a 5-day working week, it's because productivity increased.
Exactly.
It's because businesses were making more money, and therefore you can spend that productivity increase either on working less or on higher wages. The problem with trying to do that when there hasn't been a productivity increase, and actually, if you look at the income for TfL, that's gone down. I mean, fewer people are taking the tube now than before COVID. There is less money to go around, and they're asking for more. You can only ask more if there is going to be higher productivity.
Well, then they could do 32 hours, but then parts of it need to be automated, and you know where that goes. I mean, they won't agree to that. But they won't agree to that.
That would be a genuine and productive negotiating
But they probably won't accept that because it means fewer jobs.
Yeah.
This is Good Afternoon Britain. Welcome on board. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Well, Banksy could finally be unmasked as the police launch an investigation into possible criminal damage after a new artwork was sprayed on the Royal Courts of Justice in London. But after the break...
New league tables ratings. The performance of NHS trusts in England have been published for the first time. External with specialist hospitals taking the top slots. Stay tuned to see if your local Sawbones is up to par. I didn't write that.
All that and much more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 25 minutes past 1. Now, for the first time, league tables ranking every NHS trust in England have been published.
And of course, there are some very interesting ones that lead the charge. Moorfields Eye Hospital NHS Trust Foundation has topped the list, whilst the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn came last. Well, Health Secretary Wes Treating said that the quarterly rankings will help pinpoint where urgent support is needed and assist in ending the postcode lottery of care for patients. So, Tom, tell us more about this.
Well, that's right. It's the NHS Oversight Scheme, and this is the first ever ranking of those NHS trusts around England. Where is best to live, frankly, to access an NHS hospital, and where is worst to live? Now, this is ranking everything about these hospitals, from how good they are at emergency care, to ambulance response times, to elective procedures, mixing it all up and creating one definitive list. Let's have a look at the best places to live in the UK for a hospital. Well, number one, Moorfields Eye Hospital there in the centre of London. But number two, another close to London hospital, the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital in Stanmore. But Manchester, the Christie takes number 3 spot. Number 4 is in Liverpool, the Liverpool Heart and Chest Hospital. And number 5, the Royal Papworth Hospital. These are the top 5 hospitals across the board on all of those different metrics. It is interesting to note quite a geographical spread across the United Kingdom, north and south. But let's have a look at the worst areas now, those hospitals that ranked right down at the bottom. Now, there are 134 in the country that were ranked, but 129th, that's 5th from the bottom, is the James Paget University Hospitals in Great Yarmouth. Next is North Cumbria Integrated Care in Carlisle. Also not doing well, University Hospitals in Coventry. Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn takes the bottom spot, and also Countess of Chester Hospital in Chester, famous of course for being where Lucy Letby worked. That takes the second from bottom spot. So these, the bottom 5 hospitals in the United Kingdom, as ranked by this list. Now, it must be said that the list does give financial penalties to hospitals that are running deficits. So, whilst most of this is about the performance of the hospital when it comes to how good the care is, how fast those ambulance response times are, a hospital can't reach the top spot if it's in financial trouble, no matter how good the care is. But really, if you're looking to go to hospital, probably best to avoid these 5.
Right, thank you very much for that, Tom. Right, well, joining us now is the former Health Minister, Lord James Bethell. James, thank you very much for joining us on that. So, is it wise to to have a hospital sort of rated in this way? Because sometimes when they do that, sometimes they put patient care secondary to actually getting to the top of the table, depending on what that table, what that table is, how it is determined that you're at the top of the table.
Yes, now that's the grave concern of some people. I noted that Jeremy Hunt just tweeted a reminder about the Mid-Staff scandal, where management became so focused on targets they forgot about the patients. And it was a real wake-up call about how these league tables and the big stick that goes along with them can be misused. That said, I am supportive of league tables. I think transparency counts for a lot. Accountability counts for a lot. What's really important is the culture around it. And the thing that I find a little bit worrying are the sanctions on executive pay and the reductions in budgets. If you clobber the people who are struggling, you will find that they get worse rather than better. So, listen, transparency and the bright light of sun is a great thing, but we can't go back to the bullying culture of the late 1990s that did the NHS a lot of harm, really.
Now, what is the logic behind the sort of penalty given in the list to those hospitals running a financial deficit? Surely, if I'm a patient, I don't care if the hospital I'm going to is in the red or in the black. What I care about is how good the care is.
Well, ultimately, Tom, they want the hospital to be smaller. There's a little bit of a sort of Darwinian element to this, as there is with schools. And, it's very interesting that this government is getting rid of a lot of the assessments around schools, but bringing in new assessments for hospitals. Listen, the idea is if you're running a not very good hospital with a bad culture and financial troubles, your hospital should basically fade away and get smaller. Whereas the ones who thrive should be given more money.
Well, that sounds like an actually really positive thing, because I suppose one of the big problems about having a universal healthcare system run by the government is you don't get the natural competition that provides better services that sort of many European countries would have in their systems. Is this sort of forced competition in a way?
A bit. It is a bit. I mean, listen, Chester needs a hospital, and we're not going to build a new one anytime soon. So when we say a hospital sort of fades away, what we really mean is that they need to get in a new executive team and they need to reboot the whole hospital. But yeah, a bit of competition in health is a good thing, and that was something that the Blairites brought in, and I think it's widely regarded. It's a bit of a shame that those competitions were closed down.
Does it work, though, really, having all these independent trusts, as it were, so they can't take advantage of things like economies of scale, so buying bulk and better procurement? That doesn't work, does it? Because they're all little silos doing their own little thing, whereas if procurement was done as a big unit, they could save a fortune.
Well, they're not little silos. Some of them are turning over 2, 3, 4 billion pounds.
But together, they would be bigger.
Listen, if they all bought gloves together, I don't think that they would save much money. What we really have a problem with is a lack of innovation and too much control in the middle. If you try to have a fat controller like Wes Streeting telling everyone what to do in a £220 billion economy, it's not going to move very quickly. Actually, we need to have people on the ground making more decisions themselves. These are organisations run by very senior, competent people. If they're managing badly, it's probably because they haven't been given the scope and the agency to run their organisations properly.
You can't rely on one sort of benevolent genius at the core. People will make mistakes, orders will go wrong. It's better that, you know, if the wrong gloves or aprons are ordered, it's better that that happens in one hospital than every single hospital.
Well, no, but when you have got the right thing going, I think you could do that. I just think they just waste so much money in buying.
But that's sort of best practice in sharing it.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. But anyway, you'll know better than me, Lord James Bethel. We've run out of time.
The parallel with schools is interesting. We have given headmasters the ability to run the schools how they want. And we now have a much varied sort of school economy. We have Christian schools, Jewish schools, Montessori schools, knitting schools. We just judge them on their output and we let them get on with it. I think there's a little bit more of that needed in health.
Choice and competition, good things.
Thank you very much, James. That's Lord James Bethel. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have competition, but I think for certain things, like when you're procuring certain things, if you use your might, you get a cheaper price.
Yeah, that was true with the vaccines, for sure.
You saw how they did, you know, that some of them are paying like 10 quid for paracetamol when you can actually buy it around the corner for £1, and some people making stupid decisions like that.
Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more to come on today's programme.
The 1970s is now considered the golden age of children's TV. All of that and much more after your latest news headlines.
Very good afternoon to you. 1:30, the top story. A major surge of small boat crossings in the Channel today, with at least 500 migrants entering the waters so far. And breaking in the last few minutes, a seriously injured migrant has now been airlifted from the Channel, flown to Dover by Coast Guard rescue helicopters. The exact condition of that migrant is unknown at this stage, but an urgent rescue continues in the Channel. Israel's President Isaac Herzog faces calls to answer allegations of war crimes when he visits the UK this week. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says he must explain how Israel can pursue its aims in Gaza without genocide. For the first time, league tables ranking every NHS trust in England have been published. Moorfields Eye Hospital tops the list, while Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn comes last. Wes Streeting says the data will end the postcode lottery of care. A row over welfare reform. Tory leader Kemi Badenoch claims Labour's tax doom loop is pushing Britain towards a bond crisis. But Chancellor Rachel Reeves says she won't take advice from the Conservatives, accusing them of crashing the economy. Rupert Murdoch's son, Lachlan, has cemented control of the family's media empire after his siblings agreed to sell their stakes in a deal worth billions. And travel chaos continues in the capital. London's tube strike entering a second full day with almost no services until Friday. Those are the headlines for now. A full roundup from me at 2.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 35 minutes past 1, and there is lots more coming up on today's programme.
Including Banksy, who could finally be unmasked. as police launched an investigation into possible criminal damage after new artwork was sprayed on the Royal Courts of Justice in London.
Well, all of that and much more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Rain will continue to push into parts of the southwest, possibly turning heavy and thundery through the course of the day. Elsewhere, it's going to be a day of sunshine and showers. Now, the bulk of the showers is set to be across western areas, where we'll see that westerly flow, more showers moving through here, and longer spells of rain, all thanks to this system starting to clip into parts of Northern Ireland, Wales and southwest England, turning blustery here for a time with a chance of hail and thunder. Now, we could still see the odd shower across northwest England, perhaps isolated showers elsewhere, but for the bulk of the country, it's set to be another dry day with a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, highs reaching around 22 to possibly 23 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Remaining mostly dry across eastern areas to finish off the day, but once again we'll see outbreaks of rain continue across Wales, southwest England, eventually pushing into central and southern parts of England. Still fairly cloudy too across Northern Ireland, northwestern England, quite blustery here with a risk of showers, and some showers isolated around coastal areas of Scotland. But across the far northeast of Scotland, it should be a mostly clear end to the day. And eventually we'll see more and more cloud push in from the west, moving into eastern areas where we could see a risk of showers as we head our way towards dawn. And we'll start to see winds pick up, particularly around exposed coastal areas, quite a strong breeze developing by the time we reach the morning, and also a continuation of the showers. Once again, these could be heavy with some hail, lightning and also some thunder. So it's not going to be feeling quite as cool, less clear skies around, more cloud, so lows reaching around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. Wednesday is set to be quite a changeable, unsettled day. There's going to be more cloud around. Once again, further showers pushing into eastern areas where the last couple of days it's been mostly dry. Then longer spells of quite heavy, blustery rain pushing into the west by the time we reach the afternoon. So a breezy, unsettled day and any bright spells still feeling pleasant. Highs reaching around 20 degrees Celsius.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good afternoon. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Road users should be aware of several incidents causing disruptions today. The M5 northbound between junction 11 and 10 has been involved in an accident with 2 of 3 lanes closed. Also, on the M7-3 southbound, planned maintenance has led to the closure of junction 2's off-slip with a sign diversion in place. Essex is seeing delays as the M11 southbound between junction 8 and junction 7A experiences lane closures due to a traffic incident. And on the trains, there is major disruption between Newcastle and Edinburgh, affecting both cross-country and Elna services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. It is currently 39 minutes after 1 o'clock. I was about to say 13:39. People don't talk like that.
20 to 2.
Yes, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. Our biggest prize to date is worth £104,000. Your chance to drive away with a 4-berth motorhome and bank 30 grand, all tax-free cash. Here are the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. We've been doing this show for 2 days together and we're already syncing up our... Well, there we go. The time is now 41 minutes past 1. I was going to say 19 minutes to 2, but very few people say that. Anyway, the artist Banksy could finally be officially unmasked as police have launched a criminal investigation into possible criminal damage after his latest artwork appeared on the wall of the London's Royal Courts of Justice.
You must have cameras around there. Now, the artwork depicts a judge in a traditional wig and a black robe attacking a protester on the floor with blood splattering off a placard.
Interesting.
Yes.
I've seen a version of that online where someone's painted the England flag on the placard.
Oh, really?
Anyway, joining us now is the author of the book Banksy's Lost Works on the trail of his vanishing street art, Will Ellsworth-Jones. Will, thanks so much for joining us. Frankly, could we learn who the elusive and mysterious Banksy is?
Yeah. If the police go seriously after him, they can find him without too much trouble, I think. No one really has wanted to arrest him, capture him, put him on trial, but maybe with this one, attacking the Royal Courts of Justice, a Grade 2 listed building, I think they could find him if they want to find him. I think they'd be foolish in a way, because it would just give him more publicity and more strength to what he's done.
Well, that's what I said. He'll become even bigger and even more successful. But Will, do you know who he is? Have you met him?
I've never met him. I think I know who he is, but when I was researching the 2 books I've written, I always said to people who would talk to me that I wasn't going to reveal his name, and that way they were more willing to talk. That you know, I don't think there's a great point in revealing his name. The point is just finding out what he does and why he does it.
I suppose it wouldn't really mean anything to anyone, right? If I could just say it's John Smith. I mean, what does that mean?
Well, I might get to see John Smith.
Although I suppose people might want to know what's the background of this guy. Where did he go to school? Yeah. Why did he become an artist? What motivates him?
I want to interview him. I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, I'd like to do that too.
But on the artwork itself, it is a work of art. It's actually not easy to draw like that at all. He's very good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very, very good. And if you imagine drawing like that, you know, you're in a public place where you're actually going to get arrested if someone comes up and sees you drawing on the wall. It's a quick piece. It's very well done.
Wow.
And interestingly, it's political in a way that he hasn't been recently. If you think his last big works of art in London last year, they're all animals. I don't know whether you remember them. There's a goat on top of a pillar.
Down in Richmond, I think.
Swinging around. Yeah, and it's sort of fun. It was nice. But this is seriously political. I mean, he was, you know, he started 20 years ago on the separation wall in Israel, in Bethlehem, painting things. That's what got him known, particularly well known. And that was his political stance. That's 20 years ago.
So he started political and then went more mainstream, and perhaps he's becoming political again.
Possibly. I mean, this is the most political piece I've seen for a long time, and it's quite a daring piece to do it where he's done it. And, you know, he must be waiting to see what happens.
All right, well, listen, it's been great to talk to you. That's Will Ellsworth-Jones. He's an author of the book Banksy's Lost Works on the trail of his vanishing street art. Thank you very much.
Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Do get your theories on who Banksy is. gbnews.com/your say. But there's lots more coming up on today's programme.
The Flumps, yes! Stay tuned to find out. As soon as I heard those 2 beats, I knew exactly what it was. Stage 1 of them actually looks like Well, me, I think. As they seem to find out why the 1970s is now considered the golden age of children's TV.
Gosh, those are terrifying. Well, but before all of that, if you're in search of some holiday sunshine, here's the forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow and across particularly northern parts of Italy, also into Croatia, there will be the return of heavy thundery rain. Also around the Canary Islands, a few showery bursts possible. A bit of rain pushing into the north of Portugal and northwest Spain. Otherwise, a good deal of fine, often sunny weather around. Also across Greece, generally dry, just a few showers to watch out for here. As we go through the rest of the week, away from parts of Italy and Croatia, it is going to be mostly dry and sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
1, 2, 3.
The iconic Gretna Green. For over 270 years, couples have travelled here to be wed. What started in 1754 as a way for under-18s to marry without parental consent has now become a hotspot for lovebirds to say I do.
Guys, you've just gotten married here at Gretna Green. How are you feeling?
Amazing, really, really good. Happy that we've come and celebrated here.
We didn't want anything big, nothing extreme, and it was simple, easy to do.
David and Jenny now have their honeymoon and the rest of their lives to look forward to. But, as is the story for most modern couples, getting married wasn't just about love.
When you're married, everything's like legal-wise is just so much more simpler rather than having to worry about lawyers and stuff like that later on.
To have the same last name as the kids as well is quite a big thing for me.
In England, Scotland and Wales, the laws around marriage are complex and engulfed in red tape. To make things worse, the average cost of a wedding is now over £23,000. Gretna Green is calling on the government to appoint a dedicated marriage czar.
We believe marriage is struggling not because love is dead, it's because the system is broken. People don't seem to see marriage as an important thing. It provides great stability. Marriage matters. There's economic benefits, there's social benefits, and the government have got to show some leadership. And we're calling for a czar because we want someone to be the voice of marriage in this country.
Every year, around 4,000 newlyweds are married at Gretna Green. But with a change in the law, it seems that many more, both here and across the UK, could be saying I do. Sophie Reaper.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Remember Bagpuss, the beloved saggy old cloth cat from the 1970s television? It's set to make a big screen comeback in 2027, bringing a new wave of nostalgia.
Well, for many, that era still stands as a creative high point, with shows that continue to charm, inspire and endure across generations.
Yes, I was there. I remember them. So it raises a timely question. Were the 70s the golden age of kids' TV?
Now, Nana, you were around in the 1970s.
I was born in 1971, and Bagpuss, and Bagpuss's strapline, when they talked about Bagpuss, then they'd say, at the end, but Emily loved him. They did. They would say that.
Amazing.
And then there were these mice that would go, we will fix it, because there was always a problem. To be honest, it was like somebody who'd taken some sort of drugs and was on some sort of weird trip because it was so crazy.
So this is Bagpuss.
That's Bagpuss.
And he's sort of a lazy cat.
Yes, he was always yawning, although that did sound like a belch when you heard it first. But he would do this yawn and then his eyes would open. And these were the mice. There's some mice that would play this organ, and I did find the mice incredibly irritating. And then that's Emily.
Right.
Emily, it's a bit like our Emily, actually.
I don't think she looks particularly like Emily Carver.
She's got a curly-haired Emily Carver. And then that was Professor Yaffle. He's the woodpecker.
This is clearly a trip down memory lane for you. For me, it means absolutely nothing. But Nana, I think you can probably test me on some of these other television programmes.
All right, what about this one then? This man looks like the Home Pride man, and he would go into a wardrobe and then change.
Oh, well, that one's easy. I have actually seen... I think there must have been a later series of Mr. Ben as well that I'm familiar with.
This is the older version because you can see the graphics here are much more sort of oldie-worldy. I mean, look at that. And sort
of drawn on with actual sort of pen and paper.
Yes, but see, Mr. Ben, he was amazing. He'd go into a wardrobe and then he'd come out dressed because he went to a shop, didn't he? He'd go to a shop and then they would welcome him in. Then he'd try on an outfit, and you'd wonder what he'd come out as. And he came out sometimes as an astronaut or something, and then he'd be in an astronaut world for a little while.
Wow.
Somebody who's...
Well, perhaps the most famous one from the 1970s was the Wombles.
The Wombles.
Mid-1970s. Now, this one I am aware of and sort of know the theme tune for, and, you know...
Go on, Tom, give us a blast.
Overground, underground, wombling...
Overground.
Oh, that's it. Underground, overground, wombling free, the Wombles of Wimbledon, common are we.
Taking good...
Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah, he was on that, yeah.
Wow.
He was one of the voices.
Yeah.
And then, now the Flumps. These ones, some people were frightened of.
The Flumps?
Yes.
I don't know about
scary. I know one of our producers said that when they were on, he got frightened. But there they are.
Oh, that is creepy.
See, one looks like... That one with the white hat looks like our director. The one with the brown one there with the brown hat looks a bit like me. Actually...
Oh, my goodness me. I mean, this is a very strange sort of television programme. I mean, it's sort of wandling stop-motion animation. I think we should probably do a bit more stop-motion animation.
What about Shortman and the Wheelies? Did you see them?
No.
So the wheelies.
No idea.
They wheel around. They're really fast little things.
But so I grew up in the I was born in the 1990s, and so it was sort of 90s TV was mine, where it was still stop-motion animation. Like this isn't that unfamiliar to me. But children that grew up in sort of the 2010s or 2000s, they started to get this weird 3D animation sort of thing, which I think is completely wrong. Children's TV should look more like this and less animated.
Well, if only it did, but instead they're on iPhones and everything else like this now, aren't they? Well, this has been fun. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News.
Yes, lots more coming up, so don't move a muscle. There is a crisis in the channel. At least 500 small boat migrants have crossed so far. We've got our eyes there on the English Channel. More boats making their way across. We'll have the very latest on that after the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head through this evening, turning more unsettled from the west, more cloud showers, and also we'll really start to see winds pick up, particularly around western coasts. And it's all thanks to low pressure sitting out to the west, dragging in some frontal systems, so more cloud and outbreaks of rain. Initially across Northern Ireland, parts of Wales, southwest England, before shifting its way eastwards. We could see some heavy bursts along this band of rain, also some hail and also some thunder. Elsewhere, remaining largely dry across the far northeast, though eventually more clouds spilling in here. And for all, it is set to be not quite as cool, more cloud around, keeping those temperatures up. Many towns and cities dropping to around 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. As we wake up on Wednesday, it is probably going to be fairly gloomy for most. There'll be outbreaks of rain at times, but if it's dry, there's going to be quite a lot of cloud around. So heavy showers across Wales, southwest England, pushing their way into the southeast. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England. Plenty of cloud and some heavy showers here. The bulk of the showers are going to be across western Scotland, but we'll start to see some pop through across central areas too. Across the far northeast of Scotland, it should be a mostly dry start. Even here, eventually, we'll see those showers creep in. And it's set to be quite a breezy day around any exposed coastal areas. We could see some quite strong winds. And eventually later into the afternoon, we need to just keep an eye on this band of rain starting to push its way in from the west. Once again, a chance of some heavy downpours and some thunder and lightning. So an unsettled day to come. Temperatures around about average for the time of year. The showers and spells of rain are set to continue through the course of the evening. Still quite blustery once again, particularly around western coastal areas. And the changeable weather is set to continue for the rest of the week and into the weekend. Plenty of showers, some of these heavy at times, but there'll also be some bright and sunny spells in between.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 2 o'clock on Tuesday, the 9th of September. I'm Tom Harwood.
And I'm Nana Akua.
Now, breaking news into us, a seriously injured migrant has been rescued from the Channel after a boat got into difficulties. He's one of at least 500 migrants who have crossed already today alone. Is the new Home Secretary's promise to be tough as nails already falling apart?
In other news, Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson will address the Trades Union Congress today in a slot usually reserved for the Labour leader. That's just hours after launching her bid for deputy leadership of the Labour Party.
The Prime Minister a serious offer, because the Conservative Party will always act in the national interest.
Yes, Kemi Badenoch is urging Sir Keir Starmer to work with the Conservatives on cutting the welfare bill, the ballooning welfare bill. All of this in a speech earlier today calling for action to tackle that rising deficit.
And some more breaking news. Hamas have claimed responsibility for a shooting in Jerusalem that killed 6 people on Monday.
Elsewhere, new league tables rating the performance of NHS trusts in England have been published for the first time, with specialist hospitals taking the top spots. Stay tuned to see if your local Sawbones is up to par.
The African Union called for meaningful reparations from former colonial powers for exploiting the people, land and resources of the continent.
And stay tuned to find out why the 1970s is now considered the golden age of children's TV.
Do you know, I always find it interesting when people start calling for reparations, because it doesn't make any sense. Because some of those countries that were colonised, in fact, most of those colonised, if you compare them to countries that are either side of them who weren't colonised, the colonised ones are doing better off financially.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was a benefit. And when you see people like David Lammy calling for reparations, I think he came from... where did he come from? Was it Guyana or somewhere like that? It begins with a G. I can't quite remember. But, yes, I think it was Guyana. And he's calling for reparations, and he's done that many times. Had he not, his grandfather or whoever it was that came here, had they not been here, he would not now be one of the highest officers in the land. So whilst, you know, on one side there are some negative impacts, many people have had advantageous benefits of the slave trade and all that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's so difficult. I think all of this stems from a worldview where everything is zero-sum, where people think that there's only a certain set amount of wealth in the world and nothing new can be created, and you can only take money from here to give it to other people. But that's not how the world works at all. I mean, the world economy is so much larger than it was 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 100 years ago.
Well, it's almost as though they think everything's black and white. Right, send us your thoughts, post your comments at gbnews.com/your say. But first, let's get your latest news headlines.
Tom, Nana, thank you very much, and good afternoon to you. Just after 2 o'clock, we'll start in the Middle East, where we're hearing updates that several blasts have been heard in the Qatari capital of Doha. Eyewitnesses telling the Reuters news agency that they have seen smoke rising over the Qatara district in the capital. Explosions reported also in June of this year. You may remember when missiles were launched by Iran, aimed then at the US air bases in the region. At this stage, details still emerging of this latest incident taking place in Doha. All we know at this stage is that several blasts have been heard and smoke seen rising from the capital. We will keep you updated as we get any more information on the situation there in Doha. Meanwhile, staying in the Middle East, Hamas has claimed responsibility for Monday's deadly shooting on the outskirts of Jerusalem that sadly left 6 Israelis dead, 8 more wounded. Police say 2 gunmen opened fire on people waiting at a bus stop before being shot dead by an off-duty soldier and a civilian. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called it part of Israel's intense war against terrorism, vowing to pursue anyone who helped the attackers. News closer to home and a major surge of small boat crossings in the Channel today, with GB News hearing reports that at least 500 migrants have entered UK waters so far today. More vessels also launching from the French coast. An urgent rescue operation has been underway in recent hours after one migrant was airlifted to hospital via a Royal helicopter after getting into difficulties east of Dover. Reports some people are still in the water. Border Force vessels Volunteer and Hurricane are on the scene. They're being backed by lifeboats. It comes just days after more than 1,000 people made the crossing in a single day. The smugglers are continuing to test Britain's border security. The race to succeed Angela Rayner as Labour's deputy leader is heating up, with 2 senior women now officially in the running. Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson says she wants to unite the party and take on reform, describing herself as a proud working-class northerner who, she says, is ready for the fight ahead. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Dame Emily Thornberry has also confirmed she'll stand, pledging to be a voice for Labour members and unions. Well, candidates have until Thursday evening to secure the support of 80 MPs and make it onto the ballot. Meanwhile, a row has broken out over welfare reform, with Rachel Reeves insisting she won't take any advice from the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch. The Chancellor's accusing the opposition of crashing the economy when in government, and Tory MPs are urging her to accept cross-party talks on cutting welfare spending. Kemi Badenoch, meanwhile, is warning Labour's so-called tax doom loop is pushing Britain closer to a bond crisis, and says families are already £1,700 worse off. For the first time, NHS trusts in England have been ranked in league tables. At the top, Moorfields Eye Hospital, followed by the Royal National Orthopaedic and the Christie Cancer Centre. At the bottom, though, Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn, where crumbling buildings have long caused problems. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says the tables will shine a light on struggling trusts at the end of the postcode lottery for care. But NHS leaders warn the rankings could be misleading if the wrong measures are used. Those are the latest headlines for now. Let me just bring you one more line on that situation in Doha. Those explosions taking place in the Qatari capital appear at this stage to be an assassination operation against senior Hamas officials in Doha. So we'll bring you more updates on that with Tom and Nana as soon as they come to us. For now, though, let's take a look at the afternoon markets.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Well, the pound will buy you $1.3584 and €1.1548. The price of gold, £2,691, 51 pence per ounce. And the FTSE 100 is at 9,245 points.
Cheers Britannia Wine Club proudly sponsors the GB News Financial Report.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 8 minutes past 2. Now, the Conservative Party leader, Kemi Badenoch, has urged the government to work with her party on cutting the welfare bill.
In a speech calling for action to tackle the rising budget deficit, she said cooperation is in the national interest.
I am making the Prime Minister a serious offer, because the Conservative Party will always act in the national interest. If he is serious about cutting spending and really bringing down the welfare bill, we will help him. The last time he tried this in July, the Prime Minister was humiliated by his own backbenchers. He had to gut a bill just 90 minutes before MPs were due to vote on it.
Well, that's Kemi Badenoch speaking earlier, but is there really any chance of Sir Keir Starmer agreeing to work with the Conservative Party?
Well, let's cross live to GB News' political editor, Christopher Hope, who can tell us more about the speech. Christopher.
That's right, Nana and Tom. I'm here in the City of London, where we just heard from Kemi Badenoch making this offer to Labour. Often it's forgotten, isn't it, I think, in the conversation in Westminster, that the main party of opposition in our country is the Conservatives. I was struck by the fact that Keir Starmer didn't mention the Tories at all last night when he spoke to the backbenchers. He mentioned Reform and the Greens, and you're seeing deputy leadership candidates coming out today not mentioning the Tories. So here we have it, Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Tory party, trying to get back in the conversation, but about benefit cuts, with this offer to support benefit cuts by the Labour government. I sat down with Kemi Badenoch and asked about that very issue. Kemi Badenoch, you want to help Labour cut the benefits bill. It's too big. Everyone agrees with that. Is it a serious offer? Surely it's an offer they can't accept.
It is a serious offer. We saw in July Labour unable to get any welfare savings through. They brought a bill that was supposed to cut welfare, and they changed it so that it would increase welfare spending, and we cannot afford that. It's quite clear that Keir Starmer is being held hostage by his left-wing backbench MPs. He had a reshuffle last week. He can't reshuffle his backbench. So what we're doing is, in the national interest, offering to sit down with him and find common ground where we can make savings.
And you voted against those cuts, didn't you, in the summer? That's confusing.
There are increases.
Okay.
Cuts.
£5 billion cut off the bill was a cut.
No, it was not. It was £5 billion of less of an increase. It was still an increase. We need to bring our welfare bill down. We've maxed out the credit card. Labour are borrowing to pay off the credit card. I mean, this is insane. We have to fix this.
How much would you cut it by? I think it was $20 billion back in the manifesto in the summer.
Well, let's see where we are. What we want to do is make sure that we can at least find some genuine savings, not just slightly less of an increase than what they were planning.
And what would you cut? What's the most egregious benefit you would cut?
Well, one of the things that we have identified is that because of COVID and the stopping of face-to-face assessments, quite a lot of people are claiming benefits when they should actually be in work. We need to get those face-to-face assessments in. That will bring down the bill. We also need to look at some of the low-level conditions which don't need benefits. They just need perhaps support to get into work, like low-level anxiety or depression. Those sorts of things will actually make a huge difference right now.
You said in your speech there that Labour are maxing out the government's credit card. Isn't that what your government did over the back end of 14 years in power?
Not quite. We cut the deficit every year until the pandemic. COVID is what changed everything. We had to do a once-in-a-century job. We paid people to stay at home so that they wouldn't get sick, wouldn't be hurt. That was an extraordinary thing. And a lot of people were very grateful for that. But right now, what we need to do is move on from the pandemic, not accept what we did and what we spent as the new normal. We need to start reducing the deficit again. That will help us get the debt out, under control. And that's why I am offering, in the national interest, to sit with Keir Starmer. Let's find some common ground.
You're third in the polls. Labour candidates for deputy leadership are mentioning reform. So Keir Starmer didn't last night to his party. The Greens and reform they're talking about, not the Tory party. Is that a worry for you? When will you start cutting through? Do you have time as leader to cut through?
No, they're talking about all the left-wing parties. Those are their competitors. We're the only party on the centre-right. We're the only party talking about fiscal responsibility. The Green Party, Reform, Plaid, they all want to increase our welfare bill. We need to try and find some savings right now. That's really important.
Is this the start of a fight back for you personally to get your numbers motoring in popularity terms? What's your message to Tory MPs who can start putting letters of no confidence in you from the beginning of November?
I think that the real message has to be to the country. This is not about me. This is about all of us. What's going to happen to the UK if we continue with what Labour is doing? There's only one party that is focused on fiscal responsibility. There is only one party that's going to try and bring these extraordinary bills down where we're borrowing and maxing out the credit card, and that's the Conservative Party.
One of the candidates for Labour's deputy leadership, Dame Emily Thornberry, is talking about a new wealth tax. What's your response to that?
I think that is a terrible idea. They call it a wealth tax so that people think it's going to be billionaires paying the taxes. The billionaires are leaving. The people who are going to pay the wealth tax are all of us, and it's going to be family homes and pensions because that's the wealth that we have. They need to stop taxing more and start cutting spending.
Nigel Farage won't publish his tax return. You said he wouldn't earlier this year. Aren't you the same as him, trying to conceal your private finances?
A tax return doesn't actually show quite a lot of what people need to know. I'm on PAYE. I get paid by the government. They know what my taxes are. HMRC or my, knows what I'm paying. Angela Rayner didn't pay her stamp duty. That doesn't go on a tax return. And this is what I'm talking about. That this is a fig leaf. What we need are people who are actually going to be honest, do the right thing, not just publish things where the information on it might not be correct. And right now, doing the right thing is about bringing the welfare bill down. This is the only way that we're going to try and get public spending under control in the short term, and Labour needs to get their act together. We will work with them to find some savings.
Where do you sit on digital ID cards? That's been mooted as a way of dealing with stopping people disappearing into the black economy in this country.
Other countries have digital ID cards, and they have even bigger problems, with the boats crisis. So there are uses for digital ID, but right now what we're really focused on is controlling our borders and stopping people from disappearing. I don't think that the digital ID would solve that specific thing. What we need to do is stop the boats. We should get back the Rwanda removals plan. Labour should never have scrapped it. They said they were going to smash the gangs. No gangs have been smashed. Boat crossings have gone up. I think we had 1,000 people arrive at the weekend. Their one in, one out plan with France, nobody's gone in or out. It's just, this is all time wasting.
And just on Boris Johnson, The Guardian reports he's making money as a former Prime Minister. Do you object to this?
Well, I think that people should be able to earn money when they leave politics. No one has seen apart from The Guardian, what these allegations are. I think that The Guardian is distracting from what Labour are doing, which is making a mess of our economy. They now have a political crisis. They're not thinking about how to make our lives better. They're worried about who's going to be deputy leader, who's up, who's down. This is all a distraction from the real problems facing our country, which is how do we make sure we can afford to fund our health service, schools, defence? How do we make sure we're not borrowing to pay more borrowing? We are in an economic crisis of Labour's making, and we will work with them to try and fix it. If they will come sit with us, let's find some common ground.
And just very finally, looking forward into your party conference, this is a make or break one for you, isn't it? At what point should you stand aside for someone else to get your party up in the polls?
I've said that our party conference is going to be the time when we talk about what our plans on migration are going to be. This is the first time that I'm going to be addressing party members as leader. Nearly a year since since I was selected, and I think that the party recognises that the last time we were in opposition, for 18 years and then 13 years. Sorry, Labour were in opposition for 18 years. We were in opposition 13 years. They were in opposition 14 years. It's going to take time for us to get back on track. The real thing that is extraordinary is how Labour are in free fall after winning a historic majority. That is what is creating this political crisis.
Kemi Badenoch, thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Kemi Badenoch there telling us that her party is the only one of the centre-right, that she won't, obviously a wealth tax that's being pushed by Dame Emily Thornberry. She won't publish her tax return, and she says no to digital ID cards. Just finally, Tom and Nana, at the very end there, she asked for more time, didn't she? She pointed out that Labour were in opposition for 13 years, the Tories for 18 years there. She says, in a sense, it's time to give us, I need more time to make this work. The concern for her is that with MPs putting in letters of no confidence in her, if they want to, from the beginning of November, time is not on her side.
Really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christopher. I think they do need to give her a bit more time because she's got progressively better. She wasn't that good in PMQs last week. I thought she was pretty weak. But having said that, I can't see another leader. If they go for another leader again, I'm sorry. But whilst they are toast, this time they'll be burnt toast because I can't watch any more of it. Do you know what I mean? It becomes a comedy, doesn't it? It becomes Yesminster.
I think that's what's stopping them from sort of going, despite their dire position in the polls. I mean, they're on 17%. This is not a good place to be.
But from the Labour Party, though, are they?
The Labour last YouGov 22%. Yeah.
So
for a party of government, that's extraordinary.
With such a massive majority.
But we've got such a fragmented electorate in the whole. It's well, we should move on to one of those reasons, perhaps, that the electorate has become quite so fragmented, and that is the Channel crossing crisis. Yes, breaking news. In the last hour, a seriously injured migrant has been pulled from the Channel by rescue services after a boat got into difficulties.
Yeah, but at least 500 migrants have crossed into the UK waters so far. That's only today. More boats are reportedly being launched from the French coast as we speak.
Well, it comes as the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, vows to do whatever it takes to tackle the small boats crisis.
She announced the UK could issue visa suspensions for countries that refuse to take back illegal migrants.
Well, the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, told GB News earlier he backed the new Home Secretary to get the job done.
Shabana Mahmood is hard as nails, and whether it is tackling disorder and lawlessness on our streets or tackling the insecurity at our borders, you can expect a tough and effective approach from this Home Secretary.
But as boats continue to arrive on our shores, will Labour's no-nonsense stance actually work?
Well, Conservative councillor at Buckinghamshire Council, David Moore, joins us now. David, thanks for joining us. This is, of course, such a big crisis across the country, not just looking down at Dover and the Channel, but, of course, when these migrants arrive, they're put in hotels, they're put in HMOs,
makes me sick.
all across the country, and there's very little that councils can do about it.
Well, absolutely, Tom, and great to be on. The issue is we have at the moment is, like you say, lots of councils, especially Labour-run councils and Green-run councils, are essentially covering this up and just putting loads of migrants in hotels, putting up no fight to Labour's plan to house illegal immigrants whilst they go through the year-long process of being processed through with all the ECHR, the court backlog. And the issue is the new Home Secretary, I heard just then, tough as nails, I'm sorry, but Shabana is the fox guarding the henhouse here. This is a Home Secretary who once opposed Prevent, refused to condemn Islamist extremism, labelled English flag wearers as white male and bad people. And now suddenly she is LARPing and role-playing as this new Thatcher. She's going to go down hard on border control, but it's not going to change. It's a different driver of the same bus.
Well, I don't know if that's completely fair, because, of course, she clamped down on the Sentencing Council when they came out with guidelines that would sort of would consider someone's ethnic origin and other things like that before they were sentenced, and she clamped down on that. So, to be fair to her, she has put her foot down, and now she has a veto from guidelines given by the Sentencing Council. So, just to be fair to her. But look, do you not feel that what is happening here is that we are trying to find ways to accommodate the situation rather than ways to actually stop it?
I completely agree, but the problem is it's the system that's failed, and Labour are not prepared to change the system because their friends like Lord Hermer enjoy this judicial authoritarianism that is currently in control of this country, and they're not willing to change the Human Rights Act of 1998 that enshrined ECHR into law, which has created this migration crisis. They're not willing to change those. They will do those piecemeal changes like you mentioned, but they will not go to the crux of the issue, and that is the issue they have at hand.
Well, I suppose one of the arguments is if the country of origin is willing to accept the migrant coming back to them, then deportations can happen pretty blooming quickly. There can't be that many rounds of...
That's how Trump did it.
Well, given the Home Secretary is now saying we will use the carrot and the stick to make sure these countries accept back their people. Could that not work despite the human rights infrastructure that we have? We've also heard the government say that these appeals could be heard while these people are already back in the countries from which they came.
You will find that the current situation is that lawyers are making a huge amount of money making these claims as long as possible, and as long as they do not change the Human Rights Act and they don't change ECHR, we're going to continue to see these issues. They're not willing to leave it, and that's the fundamental issue.
Can I just say, David, I mean, there's the elephant in the room here, that it was the Conservative Party who allowed that sort of situation to happen, and they were terrible with legal migration as well.
Well, I do agree there were mistakes made. I think ultimately what's important here is there's a lot of Conservatives who are calling for us to have a great Reform Act, get rid of the Human Rights Act 1998, which is literally not a Human Rights Act. It's putting the rights of British citizens second, and it's putting the rights of terror sympathisers, putting the rights of people who are not here legally
First, I think he was going to say, listen, I wish that you had done it, the Conservatives had done it when they were in power. Thank you very much to David Moore. Thank you very much, David.
Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more still to come. Indeed, the African Union is calling for meaningful reparations from former colonial powers for exploiting the people, land and resources of the continent. With David Lammy as Deputy Prime Minister, could Britain cave? But after the break.
Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson will address the Trade Union Congress in the next hour. In a slot usually reserved for the Labour leader, was Keir Starmer invited, or is he running scared?
All of that and much more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. Good afternoon, Britain. We return now to that breaking news from the Middle East, where multiple explosions have been reported in Doha, the capital of Qatar.
Well, the Israeli Defense Forces have claimed responsibility for the strikes, they say targeting Hamas officials. Eyewitnesses have reported smoke rising over the Qatar district.
Well, GB News' reporter Charlie Peters has the latest developments. Charlie, what more can you tell us?
Well, Nana and Tom, we do have a statement from the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, saying that them and the Israeli security agency, the Shin Bet, conducted a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organisation. Now, they said that for years, these members of the Hamas leadership have led the terrorist organisation's operations and are directly responsible for the brutal October 7 massacre and have been orchestrating and managing the war against the state of Israel. They said that prior to the strike, measures were taken in order to mitigate harm to civilians, including the use of precise munitions and additional intelligence. The IDF and the ISA will continue to operate with determination in order to defeat the Hamas terrorist organisation responsible for the October 7 massacre. Yes,
Charlie, you say precise strike, but we were just looking on our screen there, an enormous cloud of smoke.
That's right.
A really significant strike. Precise maybe in that they will have taken out this Hamas deputy leader, but my goodness me, this is a huge strike that probably took some other stuff out as well.
Do we know that it actually took him out? Or?
There's no confirmation in terms of any battle damage assessment at this stage. I expect will take some time, and Israeli military and security figures will be careful to confirm what they have internally before sharing any information publicly. What we do know, however, is that Channel 12, an Israeli news channel, broke the news that Israel was involved in this strike before the Israeli military put it out, saying that they were targeting the headquarters of the Hamas terrorist organisation. Of course, many Hamas leaders, political and military, have been in Doha for several years. Now, the explosion that you're seeing on your screen now occurred in the Qatar district of the capital, which is a residential area. You'll see around you there many flat buildings, and it's a low-density area. Eyewitnesses reported smoke arising out of the blast area, which is what you're seeing on your screens now. So far, Nana and Tom, there are no reports of any casualties from Qatar, and the Qataris are, I understand, set to make a statement on this shortly. Israeli officials speaking to Channel 12 in Israel described it as retaliatory action against Hamas officials, and a delegation is currently there to discuss proposals for a ceasefire deal, and they said that this was against the leadership and headquarters of Hamas.
But this is really significant, though, because Qatar is it's not like Israel's struck Iran or something, right? It's an enemy of the West. Qatar hosted Donald Trump just a couple of months ago on a grand state visit. We buy a huge amount of liquefied natural gas from Qatar. I mean, Qatar is in many ways an ally, an important strategic ally of Western powers like the United Kingdom and the United States.
Yes, Tom, and we're going to see, I think, a significant and widespread reaction to this attack in the international community. But first and foremost, Qatar have now condemned this Israeli operation, and media in Israel is reporting that the name given to this assassination operation is the Gathering of Justice. Ministers of the Political Security Cabinet have been notified that they need to be available, but it's been reported in Israel that they were not informed in advance of the details of the attacks. They weren't able to approve it. In recent weeks, we have heard senior Israeli officials raising the possibility of them assassinating senior Hamas figures, including in Iran. We heard from the Chief of Staff, Major General Eyal Zamir, saying a few weeks ago that senior Hamas figures remaining in the Strip and overseas were at risk, and even when they were based abroad, not sort of ruling out targeting of those in Doha, which is, of course, what has happened today. With the top Hamas leader being targeted here, this attack being aimed at Khalil al-Hayya, which is their Gaza chief based currently in Doha. He succeeded and served as the deputy chairman of the Hamas Political Bureau from August to October of last year, succeeding the deceased Salal al-Aruri, so one of the acting sort of leadership of Hamas in Doha at the moment. Still waiting for that statement from the Qataris following this explosion, but a really significant escalation as Hamas leadership is targeted in Doha.
Now, this is, of course, going to have repercussions around the world. I suppose one of the big question marks will be is, what does Qatar do in response? I mean, do they just sit there and sort of have no response towards the Israelis, or is this going to escalate tensions in the Middle East? Could this have knock-on effects that are escalating and destabilising for the region?
Well, a senior Hamas official has now said that the Hamas negotiating delegation was targeted during its meeting in Doha. This comes after Israel confirmed its strike on Qatar, saying that it was a precise strike against senior Hamas leaders, targeting those members of Hamas leadership inside Doha. There is expected to be, of course, quite a significant response from the Qataris, and there is obviously also a large British expat community living in Doha. The Foreign Office will almost certainly be reacting very strongly to this situation at the moment, assessing potential security risks to them. Now, Qatar have now said that the attack is a flagrant violation to all international law. They've condemned the cowardly Israeli attack targeting Hamas officials in Doha, describing that strike as cowardly following that strike in a predominantly residential neighbourhood in Qatar. It's going to take some time, Tom and Nana, for us to get a full understanding of the battle damage assessment from this strike. But Qatar has also now gone on to say that its investigation into this strike is ongoing at the highest level.
God, Charlie Peters, thank you very much. Really good to talk to you, and you'll keep us updated, Right, so that is the latest development, breaking news, a strike on Qatar by Israel.
Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more to come on today's programme.
Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson will address the Trade Union Congress in the next half hour in a slot usually reserved for the Labour leader. Was Keir Starmer invited, or is he running scared? All of that and much more after your latest news headlines.
Very good afternoon. More from Doha shortly, but first, the other news making the headlines this hour. A major surge of small boat crossings in the Channel today, with at least 500 migrants entering UK waters. An urgent rescue's also taken place east of Dover, where one vessel got into trouble, leaving people in the water. Israel's President Isaac Herzog faces calls to answer allegations of war crimes when he visits the UK this week. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says he must explain how Israel can pursue its aims in Gaza without genocide. For the first time, league tables ranking every NHS trust in England have been published. Moorfields Eye Hospital tops that list, while Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn comes last. Wes Streeting says the data will end the postcode lottery of care. A row over welfare reform. Tory leader Kemi Badenoch claims Labour's tax doom loop is pushing Britain towards a bond crisis. But Chancellor Rachel Reeves says she won't take advice from the Conservatives, accusing them of crashing the economy. And travel chaos continues in the capital. London's tube strike has entered a full second day, with almost no services until at least Friday morning. Those are the latest headlines. Tatiana Sanchez will have a full roundup for you at 3.
Well, thank you very much. Lots more coming up on today's programme. The African Union is calling for meaningful reparations from former colonial powers for exploiting the people, land and resources of the continent. Well, with David Lammy, a man who's previously called for reparations, now as Deputy Prime Minister, will Britain cave?
Well, all of that and much more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Rain will continue to push into parts of the southwest, possibly turning heavy and thundery through the course of the day. Elsewhere, it's going to be a day of sunshine and showers. Now, the bulk of the showers is set to be across western areas. Well, we'll see that westerly flow, more showers moving through here, and longer spells of rain, all thanks to this system starting to clip into parts of Northern Ireland, Wales and southwest England, turning blustery here for a time with a chance of hail and thunder. Now, we could still see the odd shower across northwest England, perhaps isolated showers elsewhere, but for the bulk of the country, it's set to be another dry day with a mix of cloud and also some sunny spells, highs reaching around 22 to possibly 23 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Remaining mostly dry across eastern areas to finish off the day, but once again we'll see outbreaks of rain continue across Wales, southwest England, eventually pushing into central and southern parts of England. Still fairly cloudy too across Northern Ireland, northwestern England, quite blustery here with a risk of showers, and some showers isolated around coastal areas of Scotland. But across the far northeast of Scotland, it should be a mostly clear end to the day. And eventually we'll see more and more cloud push in from the west, moving into eastern areas where we could see a risk of showers as we head our way towards dawn. And we'll start to see winds pick up, particularly around exposed coastal areas, quite a strong breeze developing by the time we reach the morning, and also a continuation of the showers. Once again, these could be heavy with some hail, lightning and also some thunder. So it's not going to be feeling quite as cool, less clear skies around, more cloud, so lows reaching around 11 to 12 degrees Celsius. Wednesday is set to be quite a changeable, unsettled day. There's going to be more cloud around. Once again, further showers pushing into eastern areas where the last couple of days it's been mostly dry. Then longer spells of quite heavy, blustery rain pushing into the west by the time we reach the afternoon. So a breezy, unsettled day and any bright spells still feeling pleasant. Highs reaching around 20 degrees Celsius.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good afternoon. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Motorists on the A9 between Inveralmond and Broxton roundabout should expect delays due to a broken down vehicle causing restrictions on the southbound road. Essex drivers using the M11 southbound between Junction 8 and Junction 7A will face delays after an incident leading to 2 out of 3 lanes being shut. In Gloucestershire, there is a collision on the M5 northbound between Junction 11 and Junction 10, resulting in 2 lanes closed and delays running up to 40 minutes. And on the trains, expect significant disruptions with cross-country and Elna services between Newcastle and Edinburgh. Stay up to date at gbnews.com for more travel news.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
39 minutes after 2 o'clock, and we return now to that breaking news from the Middle East, where multiple explosions have been reported in Doha, the capital of Qatar. GB News' reporter Charlie Peters has the latest developments.
Well, Nana and Tom, we're hearing more from Israeli media, citing an official in the country who said that US President Donald Trump gave the green light before the IDF attack on Hamas leadership in Qatar. Now, this comes after Donald Trump said on Sunday that a Gaza deal could come soon to release all of the hostages held by Hamas, after he issued earlier on Sunday what he called a last warning to the Palestinian terror organisation. He said that the Israelis have accepted my terms. It's time for Hamas to accept them as well. Writing on his Truth Social platform, I have warned Hamas about the consequences of not accepting. This is my last warning. There will not be another one. I think critical that he issued that statement 2 days before this strike occurred, and that we're learning from an Israeli official speaking to local media that Donald Trump signed off or gave a green light to this attack. We're hearing more about the situation on the ground in Doha now. Correspondents based in Qatar saying that the targeted site is, of course, very close to residential buildings, which is what you're seeing on your screen now, the busy traffic there as people are getting away from that strike, I believe. And we've also heard from Majed Al-Ansari, the spokesperson for Qatar's foreign ministry, saying in a statement that the country condemns in the strongest terms the attack, which he said was carried out on residential buildings which have been used to house several members of the Hamas political bureau. Goes on to say that this criminal attack constitutes a flagrant violation of all international laws and norms and a serious threat to the country and safety of Qataris and residents of Qatar. While strongly condemning this attack, the state of Qatar affirms that it will not tolerate this reckless Israeli behaviour and its continued tampering with regional security, as well as any action targeting its security and sovereignty. They say that their investigations are underway at the highest level to look into what has happened in that residential area of Doha, and it comes after the IDF claimed responsibility for what it described as a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organisation. Israeli officials earlier quoted by Channel 12, a news channel in Israel closely aligned to the government, saying that it was a retaliatory action against Hamas officials, likely retaliatory to that shooting in East Jerusalem where 6 were killed, which of course has sparked a significant amount of concern in Israel. A Palestinian gunman there killing 6 people in an attack at a Jerusalem bus stop occurring over the last 24 hours, with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, attending that scene soon after.
So Hamas, this Palestinian who shot or killed those Israeli in Jerusalem, they did take responsibility and say that they are the reason, that they are the people behind that particular attack.
Well, the Hamas leadership reacting to the situation in Jerusalem. I'm just waiting to see confirmation. We're getting some more updates from this strike in Doha. Sorry, and I'll come back to that in a moment. But we're just hearing now Israeli media citing a senior Israeli official have said that they have attacked the Hamas leadership in Qatar, including Khalil al-Hayya and Jabaring, and they are awaiting results. What you're hearing there, Nana, they are looking at conducting some battle damage assessment to assess the significance of their strike. Jabaring refers to Zahir Jabaring. He's a Palestinian in exile, a member of the political bureau, 56 years old, and he was a financial administrator of the Hamas movement, based at the moment in Doha. So we're still waiting for more information on if that strike on Khalil al-Hayya and Jabaring was successful. But Tom, you alluded to it earlier, the significant amount of sort of the extent of the strike, the amount of smoke rising from the area. I've got another breaking line to bring you now as well. The Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson has said that Israel's attack on Hamas officials in Qatar is dangerous and a violation to international law. This comes after Qatar said that the Israeli strike was a flagrant violation of international law. Smoke is still billowing from that residential area where this strike has occurred. So we're expecting many more reactions like that. First from the Qataris, of course, with their own territory being hit by what is likely a rocket strike from the IDF, but also from Iran nearby. It's because this wasn't an isolated area, I think, it's going to be of particular concern to the reaction to Israel, because it's in a residential neighbourhood.
But here's the interesting thing. I mean, Iran is not allied with Qatar. They have different sort of international allegiances. Donald Trump was in Qatar as recently as May for a state visit. He sat down for a state banquet in Doha, and just months later, this is the same city that is now struck, reportedly, with his consent. I mean, this is some really serious escalation within the region. But I wonder, will there have been a greater sort of sense of justification for doing this? Because we do read so much about the Hamas officials living it up in Doha. I mean, we hear this is a suburban neighbourhood, but some of these Hamas officials, senior Hamas officials, don't live in Palestine, have millions or perhaps billions in terms of their property portfolio and wealth.
Yeah, and we're hearing more now from the US Embassy in Doha. They're issuing a shelter-in-place order for US citizens. There are about 40,000 Americans living in Qatar, 20,000 British nationals there as of the middle of 2024. And Tom, you're speaking about how crucial Qatar is to the Hamas leadership, of course, many of them being based their political bureau, financial controllers as well. It has been a place where I suppose Hamas officials have felt almost safe away from the reaches of the IDF, but we have heard increasingly from Israeli military leaders and ministers that they are now willing to strike Hamas leaders wherever they are found, including, it seems, now in Doha.
OK, well, Charlie, do stay with us. We're going to have much more on this after a very short break. We're going to take a quick look now at the travel weather, perhaps best to avoid the Arabian Peninsula.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow and across particularly northern parts of Italy, also into Croatia, there will be the return of heavy thundery rain. Also around the Canary Islands, a few showery bursts possible. A bit of rain pushing into the north of Portugal and northwest Spain. Otherwise, a good deal of fine, often sunny weather around. Also across Greece, generally dry, just a few showers to watch out for here. As we go through the rest of the week, away from parts of Italy and Croatia, it is going to be mostly dry and sunny.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community.
So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akua, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. We return now to that breaking news from the Middle East, where multiple explosions have been reported in Doha, the capital of Qatar. GB News reporter Charlie Peters has the latest developments. Charlie.
Well, over the last month, the IDF has struck targets in Gaza and also in Lebanon, Syria and Yemen. It's also being seen targeting elsewhere, and this is by far the most serious escalation in their activities yet, with a strike in Doha, in the capital of Qatar. And we do now have a full statement from the IDF on this strike in a residential area, where they say this is a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organisation. Now, they said that these members of the Hamas leadership have led the terrorist organisation's operations and are directly responsible for the brutal October 7th massacre. Earlier, we also heard from an unnamed Israeli official, quoted in local media, that it was a retaliatory strike, likely, Nana and Tom, in reaction to the shooting dead of 6 civilians in East Jerusalem, which was claimed by Hamas as their attack earlier today. Now, who has been targeted in this strike in Doha? 3 names have been listed, also by Israeli sources in local media. That's Khalid Mashal, who's the chairman of the Hamas Political Bureau, has been acting in that role for some time, Zahir Jabarin, and also Khalil al-Hayya, who I believe is on your screens now. He's a Palestinian politician. He's a member of the Political Bureau of Hamas, which could draw also further distinction and potential controversy in the reaction to this strike by the Israelis. Now, the diplomatic advisor to the Emirati president has also just issued a statement now saying, "We stand with Qatar," and they've condemned what they described as the treacherous Israeli attack that targeted it. The Israelis right now will be carrying out battle damage assessment, waiting to find out if their strike was successful.
OK,
Wow,
well...
Charlie, thank you very much. Wow.
Gosh, there is a lot happening, but it's time for us to pass the baton now to Martin Daubney, who will have more on that news and much more besides, I am sure. Martin, what's coming up on your programme?
Yeah, as well as that latest breaking news, we are, of course, focusing on 101 damnations, Labour behind in the past 101 polls to reform UK. Today, they make it personal. They're playing the player, going for Nigel Farage, calling him a plastic patriot, calling their economics a clown show. Feels a bit rich, does it not, coming from Rachel Reeves. Also on the show today, Texas has banned all Sharia, of course, after Islamist extremists have upped the ante, trying to get shops to close, selling alcohol, cigarettes and pork. Is it time to ban Sharia courts in the UK? Are they an example of two-tier justice? America is saying get rid of all of them. Is it time for Britain to follow suit? Plus, I'll be joined by the legendary TV presenter Johnny Ball as Bagpuss makes it back. A blast from the past on the Martin Daubney Show, the meatiest debate on TV. I'll see you in a short while, but first, here's your weather forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we head through this evening, turning more unsettled from the west, more cloud, showers, and also we'll really start to see winds pick up, particularly around western coasts. And it's all thanks to low pressure sitting out to the west, dragging in some frontal systems, so more cloud and outbreaks of rain. Initially across Northern Ireland, parts of Wales, southwest England, before shifting its way eastwards. We could see some heavy bursts along this band of rain, also some hail and also some thunder. Elsewhere, remaining largely dry across the far northeast, though eventually more clouds spilling in here. And for all, it is set to be not quite as cool, more cloud around, keeping those temperatures up. Many towns and cities dropping to around 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. As we wake up on Wednesday, it is probably going to be fairly gloomy for most. There'll be outbreaks of rain at times, but if it's dry, there's going to be quite a lot of cloud around. So heavy showers across Wales, southwest England, pushing their way into the southeast. Similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, plenty of cloud and some heavy showers here. The bulk of the showers are going to be across western Scotland, but we'll start to see some pop through across central areas too. Across the far northeast of Scotland, it should be a mostly dry start. Even here, eventually, we'll see those showers creep in. And it's set to be quite a breezy day around any exposed coastal areas. We could see some quite strong winds. And eventually later into the afternoon, we need to just keep an eye on this band of rain starting to push its way in from the west. Once again, a chance of some heavy downpours and some thunder and lightning. So an unsettled day to come, temperatures around about average for the time of year. The showers and spells of rain are set to continue through the course of the evening. Still quite blustery once again, particularly around western coastal areas. And the changeable weather is set to continue for the rest of the week and into the weekend. Plenty of showers, some of these heavy at times, but there'll also be some bright and sunny spells in between.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
It's a big 3,500-mile journey, but it's an international TV show, so there's going to be a good 10 to 12 film crew. But instead of hunting, gathering and survival, it's going to be mixed. We're going to be travelling this by land, air and sea, documenting the Yellow River. So it is going to be skydiving, paragliding, scuba diving, all the extremes that you can think of.
You've done paragliding, you've done skydiving before?
Yeah, I've got the licences. I've probably been working on it the past 10 to 15 years, to be honest.
Really?
The licences in sort of land, air and sea. And so this time round, we get to put it all in one as we show, you know, the mother river of China.
And how long would it take?
It would take probably about 2 months. So certainly longer than the Suriname journey, but not quite the Yangtze River.
And sleeping in what, tents?
Yeah, tents along the way. Yeah, we'll be cycling and kayaking as well. We'll be staying in a lot of different towns and cities along the way because there's a big film crew. So it's probably more luxurious than your survival in the Amazon, but certainly different kind of challenges.
And am I right in thinking you've got engaged since your last trip?
Yes.
And how does your beautiful Mrs. feel about you doing this?
You know what? She's worried all the time with these different endeavours, but she's just so supportive. She loves it. She's like, you know, as long as you train and prepare and you're safe and you're not pressured with the film crew around you to do stuff that you wouldn't otherwise do, then you know, she has
can you? Are you allowed to keep in touch, or is it?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. So I'm looking to actually drop, like, on Instagram and the rest of the social medias, a post every day from source to see from day one all the way to the very end.
I was following you on Instagram and I was thinking, how is he able to do this from the middle of nowhere? Sometimes you can't get Wi-Fi in North Devon.
GB News, the People's Channel.
A very, very good afternoon to you. It's 3 p.m. and welcome to the Martin Daubney Show here on GB News, broadcasting for you live across the UK and bringing you all of the very latest news, debate and analysis all the way until 6 p.m. Coming up on today's show, breaking news, the IDF has confirmed that it has carried out airstrikes in the Qatari capital of Doha that targeted senior Hamas leaders. We'll bring you all the latest developments on this breaking news story. Meanwhile, back in Blighty, new data out today shows that Reform UK has led in the past 101 opinion polls. In response today, the Labour Party made their battle with Reform personal. Keir Starmer blasted Nigel Farage as the plastic